They should be able to hear me now.
We good, everyone?
Sorry, I reset my computer, and I forget when I reset my computer, it resets everything in OBS, and that was one thing that I did not turn back on was my microphone. So, how y'all doing? My apologies. I'm sitting here talking, and y'all are like, no sound, no fucking sound. One of these days, I'm gonna get it right and come in here and.
It wouldn't be Planet Fanatics if we didn't have one hiccup to start a live.
Has to be a mess up. As I was saying, we appreciate everybody being here that is already here. We are going to talk about a few things today. Not a lot, but there are a few things that we will talk about today. One of those things is going to be the Green Lantern series. Is it canceled or is it not canceled? James Gunn continues to be vague on Twitter. One of the other things that we'll talk about is going to be some of the updates for the 2025 Star Wars film that is going to be coming out, that is going to be helmed by Damien Lindelof. And we've got some Bad Batch leaks and rumors coming on there that are kind of in line with some of the things that I've been saying with, in regards to Bad Batch, in regards to Star Wars, in regards to where they're going with the Filoni-verse, Mando-verse, whatever verse you want to call it. And the last thing we'll talk about is something that I kind of mentioned. Actually, no, I tweeted about it. So a lot of you guys did see this tweet because we interacted about it, and that is the look of Mephisto in the MCU and how not encouraging that is for Mephisto. But we're going to talk about it all, and we'll get into it with you guys and see what you guys think. But before I do that and before we get into anything else, I will say this. If you are new here and you would like to, okay, that does play loudly. Okay, well, thank you so much for the super chat. We got a super chat there. Who did that come from? That came from Double Tar. Double Tar, we appreciate you.
Thank you so much, man.
And I'll read that in just a second. But we appreciate you sending that super chat for sure. But then it goes. So like I said, we'll talk about the Mephisto thing. But before we get into any of that stuff, like I said, if you want to, you can join our Discord. The Discord link is down below in the bio. There are plenty of conversations that go on through the Discord throughout the day. It's a growing community that's a part of that, and so if you would like to join, I encourage you to join. We are going to try to do call-ins next week, so mark your calendars. I'm going to try to do call-ins next week with some guys, with some of you guys. If you want to call in, it doesn't have to be specific to the topic that is at hand. If you just want to call and ask me a question, or if you have a question about something that's not related to whatever we talked about that day, or just whatever, you can call in and talk about that, and we will address that on the live show. Also, it is the best way for us to get in contact with you if and when we do giveaways, so that we can get your information and get giveaways mailed out to you. And then the last thing there is, for the Discord, is if there's a topic or something you see throughout the week or the day that you feel that we should be discussing on the live show, you can also send that link throughout the Discord there, or you can DM me on Twitter, or however you want, or mention me on Twitter, however you want to do that. So you can get that done there. Before we get into it, Trey, how was your Christmas, your day, your everything?
Man, my son actually let me sleep in this year, so.
Oh, that's good.
Last year he pulled I'm so excited I can't go to sleep, and stayed up super late, and then 5 in the morning rolled around. I guess he got out of bed to go to the bathroom and saw everything set up, and at that point, I was going to be like, no, go back to sleep. My wife was like, don't be a Grinch, so he let me sleep in, spend time with family. We've got a lot of family, so the last couple we were jumping everywhere and doing all that stuff, but ended it going to see Avatar. It was a good Christmas.
That's good. Well, myself, and I was here, laid down, slept most of the day, and I had planned on getting in here and doing some changes to the room, but I had never got around. I had planned on doing it today, and ended up having to get prepared for the show, and then just blah blah blah. Never got it done, but I do plan on getting here and getting some things done. And one thing I will say too, for people that are confused, that you may not have seen the last time, yes, you cannot send any super chats right now. If you can't do any of that. We are not monetized at the moment because I'm currently discussing things with AdSense, and it's going to be back on soon. It's just it's a process. So if you would like to send a donation or send a tip or send anything, you still can do so. The Streamlabs link is in the chat. It's pinned and is also in the bio, and when you send it is going to still work like a super chat, except it's going to pop up on the screen there, and when it pops up on the screen, we'll be able to read it just like a regular super chat would be done. So to get to what Double Tar said there, Double Tar had sent a super chat, and he said, hold on, Double Tar, let me get that pulled. Can you see what he said?
I can't see the any attachment to it.
That's fine. I should have it here.
While he's looking, I'll say this. I missed everybody. I'm so excited to be back. It's so fun. Shout out everybody I see, D Stizzle, Sir Liam G, Gray. I see everybody in here. Professor Film Fan. It's dope, man. It sucks being away from everybody.
Yeah,
My job can
hold on, Double Tar. I've got this. I remember how to do this. Henry told me. Bear with me one moment, everyone. I apologize.
Not D Stizzle is because that man over there, he got wide shoulders. And sometimes something will slip. It happens. We're in learning.
Man. Wait, what about... Should let me click on that now.
Yeah, so you got a fancy Streamlabs on yours. I don't got none of that. But yeah, while he's looking, I do hope everyone had a good Christmas. Everyone got taken care of. Families healthy, safe. That's the important part, right? See, I got kids. We got them paid for and taken care of. And
okay. All right, I got you, Double Tar. Found it. I apologize. So Double Tar sent a super chat, a $20 super chat. We appreciate that so very much. Where he asked, with the report of Genosha as the home of the mutants, it's seeming more and more that the MCU will adapt the House of X storyline for the mutants. What do you guys think? Will Xavier, Magneto, and the mutants arrive or via a portal and start House of X? I really, that's been one of the most interesting things about the Genosha reports and rumors going on, everything going on with Tiamat, and that's going to be going on and going to first take place in Captain America New World Order. That Tiamat is going to have adamantium, and that adamantium is going to be one of the essential things that they are trying to get to in Captain America New World Order. Obviously, Thunderbolt Ross, Val, and some of the others are going to be trying to get to the adamantium there. Now, the question is, because I had asked this the last time we talked about this on a few days ago, Friday night or whatever night it was, when we talked about it, and I had said it's interesting because Kevin Feige and some of the reports that we have gotten Kevin Feige and Marvel have not come out and said this themselves, but some of the reports out there are that the MCU mutants are not going to be coming into the MCU until Phase 7, and they are calling Phase 7 the Mutant Saga. So with that report and rumor already being out there, but now you've got Genosha that's going to be showing up in Phase 5. Adamantium is now being mentioned, and I'd even say, because I've seen people saying, well, Wolverine was also mentioned in She-Hulk. Bro, I would take that with a massive grain of salt. I would take anything mentioned in She-Hulk with the biggest massive grain of salt, because I just don't think that show holds any weight to anything in the MCU. I mean, at the end of the season, they erased everything that was done. So I don't even know if you can really take hold to that. I mean, we know that the leader is still going to be in Captain America 4. We know that the blood and everything is still going to play a role with Thunderbolt Ross and him being Red Hulk and everything like that. But I would take the whole Wolverine mention or sneak peek Easter egg that Jennifer saw in the newspaper with a massive grain of salt. Massive. So we do know that some of those things going on with Tiamat and things like that, but we also know that in the Thunderbolts film is when it is no longer going to be called the Island of Tiamat, because in Captain America 4, that's the rumor, that's what it's going to be called, but in Thunderbolts it's going to be called Genosha, which leads me to think, are there mutants already? Are there going to be mutants that we're going to see showing up in Phase 5 earlier than Phase 7? And are those mutants going to be on Genosha? Are we going to see our whatever MCU Charles Xavier? Are we going to see our MCU Magneto? I don't know. I really can't answer that because it's conflicting reports at this point. That we got the report saying that the Fox X-Men, Kevin Feige wants to give them their proper farewell, and that they're going to be the mutants moving up until Secret Wars, and after that they're going to be gone. Then we get our MCU X-Men. But now you've got Genosha. Now, just because we've got Genosha does not necessarily mean that our mutants have to already be on Genosha. I think that would be a little premature anyway. But
I would like to see their origin.
Yes,
there's a lot of story.
There's a lot of story that leads to Genosha.
And I do think they're definitely. My only thing with Mutants MCU now where we're at this stage that we are, because we've been, everyone since Iron Man has been like, Wolverine, let's go, let's do it. Since the first Avengers lineup, where's Wolverine? It's been a hype thing for everyone. I don't think they're gonna. It would be. They like their big reveals. They like their big money shot moments, right? I don't believe they're gonna give you, there's Mutant Island over there,
right?
Just
and then the mutants are just there.
I think when mutants drop, they drop. It'll be a big fucking deal, and I think that's why they're not touching them, because they're going to give them their focused phase. They're going to really make it about mutants when they come.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, X-Men is Marvel's arguably biggest title other than Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. So, like, they're not gonna. They know we want them. They know they're finally gonna bring them in, and they're going to do it with as much pizzazz as possible.
Mm. Yeah. I don't. Those are some of the things that I think right now. As far as are they going to adapt House X storyline? It's quite possible. It's quite possible that they could. But I also think that, again, Genosha, it's premature to just jump right into that story. But I'm not. Again, it's the MCU, and as I've said recently in the past 2 weeks, it is what it is with the MCU. I've come to accept it is what it is with the MCU. They're going to do what they want to do, how they want to do it. Mm-hmm. So even though we as comic book fans may think Genosha is premature, the MCU may be saying we don't.
And I mean, it also depends on, because the MCU likes over-explaining things too, to where I don't think they would jump you in Genosha just with everything that leads up going to that island. Because there's a lot of politics that go on with it, and people's differing opinions, and it goes over to the Charles and Magneto overall. Mm-hmm. Do we isolate? Do we not isolate? Do we force them to accept us? Dealing with what countries want to do. I mean, hell, at one point there literally becomes mutant internment camps that come from this. So, like, it would be kind of remiss for... I just don't think they would do that to average viewers who don't know anything about this. Because, to be quite honest with you, until I kind of read more about it, and comic book-wise, I didn't know Genosha was a thing. As a kid, you see X-Men, what do you mean an island? They're at Xavier's house. Like, that's... Right. Most standard people don't know what that is.
Right. And there's a lot, and I've seen a lot of people saying, "Oh, well, that's just the place." It's one of the places that the mutants once lived. It's the home. It's one of the homes, but it's just one of them. And so, I don't know. It's interesting. It's interesting to see that it's even popping up in Thunderbolts. I would have never thought that that's what they were going to do with Tiamat. Because we've been asking, what's going on with Tiamat? I just put up the video about it. But what's going on with Tiamat? What's going on with this celestial that's just sticking out of the ocean that no one has talked about all Phase 4? Well, it looks like, wow, now they're doing this with it. And again, I don't hate it. I don't. I've seen some people saying, well, I don't like this. Don't do that. I don't like that. I don't mind the storyline at all. I think that, again, these are some of the things that we've been wanting to see, right? These are, people were saying Phase 4 was this or that, and now we're starting to see some of that juice that you want. You're starting to recognize, like names like Genosha and other things like that coming into play. I mean, I have my trepidations for Captain America 4 with how stacked that film is. It is stacked. There's when I say stacked, I'm talking characters, I'm talking plot points, everything. It is stacked. So I have my trepidations about it being, heavily centered on Sam and us developing Sam. But I can't say that I dislike that storyline. I can't say that I'm, not excited for that storyline on top of knowing that Ona already said it's a paranoid thriller.
It's going to be such a long fucking movie. Yeah. I want to hit every note.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting, but yeah, that's what I think there so far about that Double Tar. But we'll move here into the first topic, and the first topic that we're going to talk about is the Green Lantern series here. So we talked a while back, I don't want to say a while back, maybe about a month or so ago, we talked about the Green Lantern series that had been, and I'll go ahead and put that on the screen for you guys too, the Green Lantern series that had kind of been reworked from the Hal and Alan series to become the John Stewart Green Lantern series, and we were all excited about it, but seems like here CBR is reporting that the Green Lantern series, it says, now this is now earlier, I will say this has been reworked. Before this has been reworked, so let me give you go ahead and give the background story here. CBR and a couple other outlets started posting that the Green Lantern series had been axed, it had been scrapped and canceled. Where James Gunn, of course, in typical fashion, James Gunn came out and tweeted the factual stuff to it and untweeted under it and said, this is fake. Nothing, he actually just said fake. He didn't say anything else, just fake. And when he said just fake, there were other people like CBR that were going back and retracting some of the things that they said. So this was not the title of this article at the beginning. And if you see here, it says update DC Studios, blah, 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 blah. The title of this article originally was the Jon Stewart Green Lantern series has been scrapped. But they have recently changed that to saying what it says now. So I will go ahead and jump into what you got, or what they're saying here. Then we'll kind of give you guys our thoughts and speculations on what is going on over there. But it says a new report suggests that the Green Lantern series originally announced for premiere on HBO Max streaming service has been scrapped. According to scooper Daniel RPK, the series was canceled for unknown reasons. However, the pundit also claimed DC Studios co-CEO James Gunn has plans for the film featuring Green Lantern. At the time of writing, no official announcements have been made concerning the fate of the project. Then it goes on to say that this follows previous reports suggesting both the showrunner Seth Graham Smith and star Jeremy Irving and Finn Wittrock, who were attached to play Alan Scott and Guy Gardner. It was Guy Gardner in Alan series, not a Hal. And I thought Hal was in it though, but I could have been wrong. Respectively, had left the show as the project was being revamped to center on Jon Stewart rather than multiple members of the Green Lantern Corps. It was also reported that the show's budget had been significantly cut when the show was announced. It was described as the biggest DC show ever made, with an estimated budget of approximately $120 million. Following the Warner Brothers Discovery merger, this budget was slashed through. The later figures are unknown. Then it says the new DCU on top of the Warner Brothers Discovery merger, the recently rebranded DC Films to DC Studios has resulted in a number of major changes. These include scrap projects such as Man of Steel sequel, Wonder Woman 3, and the untitled Batman film starring Michael Keaton. At the time of writing this project, still set for release are Blue Beetle, Shazam: Fury of the Gods, Aquaman in the Lost Kingdom, and the Penguin-centric spin-off of the Batman. While there have been vocal critics of the reported changes, it is not something that took James Gunn and CEO Peter Safran by surprise. Gunn previously stated, "One of the things Peter and I were aware of when we took this job as heads of DC Studios were certain minority of people online that could be then he said, uproarious? Whatever, and could be unkind, to say the least," he added. We were aware there would be a period of turbulence when we took this gig, and we knew we would sometimes have to make difficult and not so obvious choices, especially in the wake of the fractious nature of what came before us. But this means little to us in comparison to our jobs as artists and custodians in helping to create a wide and wonderful future for DC. And this is all coming from Daniel RPK over at Twitter. So, like I said, James Gunn did come out and tweet and say that it was fake. Now, and I've seen a lot of people saying too, we talked about this, when the series first was changed and switched over to Jon Stewart, there were some people that were saying, oh, I'm a big Hal fan, or I'm a big... I would say it depends on the era that you grew up in. I grew up in the Jon Stewart era. I grew up, that's where I first learned about... I knew about Hal, but that's where I first learned about Jon was in Justice League Unlimited, Justice League, and then from there, just my own research. But that's my Green Lantern. My Green Lantern is Jon Stewart, and I like the others, of course, but my Green Lantern is Jon Stewart. So when I heard that this was going to be a series, of course, like a lot of other people, I were like, really, it deserves to be a film. It deserves to be a film rather than a series. But I was happy with the series because I was like, hey, we're getting Jon Stewart, we're getting him in some type of fashion, and we do know just from what they just said that it was going to be one of DC's biggest TV shows with a budget of $120 million. And I said early on, with it being on HBO Max, I never had a problem with that anyway, because HBO Max, House of Dragon, look what they do when it comes to the shows that they are able to produce, the things that they're able to do. So I was like, yeah, I was okay with that. But hearing that it had been scrapped and things like that. It's either the project has been scrapped, or it's either the project's been scrapped indefinitely, or it's been scrapped to make way for it to be a film. Those are the two options here that I'm looking at. I don't know if it's actually been scrapped completely, or if it's just been scrapped to make way for it to become a film. Because again, James Gunn is completely vague every single time he gets on Twitter. He didn't say one way or another.
Right. I mean, so this is a gripe that I have that I will further dive into on our Star Wars topic. But the only thing that bothers me about these large name companies with these incredible IPs, right? Larger than life IPs, talking DC, we're talking Star Wars, is that it makes me nervous whenever there's so much, oh, we're doing this, never mind, cancel, we're doing it this way. It seems so unsure and switching things up last minute, and that never bodes well, right? You want you want to plan this out and actually make it good. And maybe, and this is what I'm saying, trepidatious, maybe this is a better option for them. Maybe this is a better avenue to go. But still, it's kind of like, I stop fucking around with these things.
Right.
You can make DC incredible, but we don't know what the fuck's going on. Why did I see a Shazam trailer in the movies last night? Like, is that, with this reboot and all this and that? It's just very, it makes me nervous. And also after, like you're saying, after the House of Dragons, Game of Thrones in general, looking at what The Last of Us is going to do on HBO Max, I would have loved it. And not to mention that, I thought HBO Max would be a perfect place to discuss Jon's story, because where Jon is different than Hal, if you've read their characters, Hal Jordan is very and he makes jokes, and he's quirky, and he's goofy. A lot of his Green Lantern powers are more like by force and with strength, where Jon, being more reserved, he has to think more, and his the way he fights with his Green Lantern powers is so much more intelligent than Hal.
Right.
Hal, literally, a lot of it is, I'm going to bang my head against the wall with my abilities. I'm going to hit you with something bigger or harder or stronger, where Jon, he thinks a lot. He has a whole different, and it's almost like he can get more dark and emotional and get into topics that HBO could touch on, where Hal is your good old boy, I'm a hero, right. and that's fine. They're both done well. I think it's a testament to Jon that so many people do love Hal, because he was very good, but just as many people love Jon, because they are entirely different characters. They somehow pulled that off perfectly. And, I don't know. I'm excited to see Jon's story either way. I personally would have liked a series.
Right.
Especially if, there's just some times where if you're trying to tell a long, rich story of a character, a series can be the way to go. Especially with the funding that it had. But right now, I'm just like, DC, just don't fuck it up whatever you do.
Right.
That's kind of where I'm at with it. I'm like, okay, if James Gunn, you believed it's better as a movie, show me. As long as we're still getting it, at least we get it in some form or fashion.
Right.
Gunn just needs to chill out with Twitter and letting things leak out and confuse everyone. I think if he just dropped the slate, here's what we're trying to do.
It's supposed to be doing that in January. January is when we're supposed to be hearing exactly a start of what it is they want to do.
Right. Well, also that's what's more important here, because I see they're doing a Jon Stewart Green Lantern film. I'm like, cool. I grew up on Justice League Unlimited too. I love his character, but I'm like, but what does that fit into? What are we doing? Like, what are we going to do with him? Because this film's obviously going to be a part of your connected universe, but what is that? How are you doing any of this? Because they mentioned doing a younger Superman. We don't know how young.
He's going to already know Lois. He's going to already be working at the Daily Planet.
Right, but it's a younger Superman, but is Hal not a thing? What's going on with the Green Lantern Corps? I need to know what you're doing here.
Yeah.
Is my whole deal.
Not sure. And when he says fake, is he saying that it's just no longer happening on HBO Max? Is he saying that is he saying it's fake? The reason of it being canceled is fake, like that, because people are saying that it's fake or it's being canceled because it's becoming a film now. Is he saying that that's fake, or is he just saying the overall article is fake and we're still doing the series without because he didn't say, he just said fake. So
well, and I don't think he handles these things well. PR-wise.
That's why I said stay off Twitter.
Yeah, because
stay off Twitter.
If this was a person who'd given us the 3 phases of Marvel, and then someone's reporting something, and it's like it's a Feige going fake. We're like, I don't know what the fuck's going on, but I trust him. You know what I mean? We'll figure it out. Gunn is just now taking over. No one even has confidence in where DC stands right now. It's real shaky. And when this comes out and all you go is fake, it's like, no, you need to come out with more assurance. You need to let fans know what you're trying to do. Dude, I'd be riding the high. New phase of DC, I'd be fucking living in it. But instead, he's just kind of talking shit on Twitter to people and saying confusing stuff, and that doesn't bode well for me.
Yeah, yeah. You know, and if this is canceled and the series is the series is being canceled to make way for a movie, as I said, I'm okay with that. But if it's just being canceled altogether, well, then it falls into the issues that I have with some of the things that already are kind of muddy with this reboot. So, but again, we have to wait and be patient. At least he did come out and say something, I guess. I mean, because he could have let it just which I would have done if I were in James Gunn's shoes. I would have just been like, oh, well, I've already said we're announcing things in January, so believe what you want to believe. In January, we'll set it all straight. But that's just my way of thinking. Right. So, but as always, question is for you guys. Let me know down below in the comments what you guys are thinking. Are you thinking that the Jon Stewart Green Lantern series has been canceled? Are you thinking that it's been canceled to make way for it to be a movie, or it's been canceled altogether? Are you thinking that the entire article is fake, and that it's still happening as a series? And then what do you make of what James Gunn's, the one word answer from James Gunn there, just saying fake? Let us know in the comments what you guys are making of all these reports coming out with the Green Lantern series and just the muddy situation that DC, and we say muddy, but it may not be muddy to them. It may just be clear as water over there for them. As for us that are on the outside, it looks muddy. But what are your thoughts there? Let us know down below in the comments. See what they're saying in the chat.
Raymond 2000 said, "There's a stranger in your house."
Hmm.
Do you want me to do it?
Yeah, you can.
Can I? I'm back. Yes. Okay. Official EMG said, "My time to shine hello did a bunch of leaks within the past 2 hours."
Did she?
Yeah, I've been low key. When you were reading that article, I was like, I can't not look. Let's see here. D Sizzle said, "Just trying to stay safe and warm. Crazy low temperatures up here, man. We're having a historically low temperatures here in Oklahoma."
No, this is that weather where I'm cussing the entire time I'm outside. I didn't
have hot water for 2 days.
Oh, hell no.
I had to take a hobo bath, bro. It was the worst. Let's see here. Then Ashra said, She-Hulk has reportedly been canceled.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Too.
Goodbye.
Yeah, I wouldn't at all doubt that most of those series don't get a part 2. Let's see here. Hungry Almighty said Marvel cannot afford to mess up Wolverine. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure we're outside of the big 3. Batman, Superman, Spider-Man. Wolverine is the biggest Marvel/DC hero. Wolverine's a big one. I mean,
Oh, that's because, I'm sorry to cut you off. I forgot. So My Time to Shine Hello did say once she hit 100K, and I didn't know she hit 100K, but once she hit 100K, she was going to be dropping a huge load of shit.
She said it hasn't come out. The 100K she hadn't dropped yet.
Oh, She's see this. None of this is the 100K scoop.
Let's see here. D Sizzle said Kevin throwing a thanks for the Foxmen Memories farewell party on screen. Double Star said X-Men is bigger than Spider-Man and still holds the records for all comics sold, period. For Marvel? I'm going to say Superman's got that. So Batman's behind him.
Sorry. Let me this is kind of to what Double Tar was saying there. And the reason that I jump on My Time to Shine Hello is because she's not proven to me to be wrong. Others out there like Daniel RPK, you know the credible ones. Can We Get Some Toast is a new credible one that has been coming around that My Time to Shine Hello is given a stamp of approval to. But she said, to answer to what Double Tar said, so it kind of puts to sleep everything that I just said about it being called Tiamat Island, because that was the report that we had heard, that it was called Tiamat Island, and which raised a question that Raymond asked Friday in the chat. Raymond, when he said, "Well, how would the people in the MCU know that it's called Tiamat Island? Does that mean that they talked to Cersei? Have they talked to the Eternals? How would they know that that's what it's called?" Which That was a very good question that I didn't have an answer for. And so so My Time to Shine Hello tweeted, Tiamat Island is not Genosha. It does not have the name. It does not have a name. They also don't know the name of Tiamat in the MCU, so they don't call this island anything yet. Wow, I'm gonna have to make a video on this tomorrow because I just put out a video saying it's Genosha.
Right. Well,
But you know,
My Time to Shine's on she's past that 1K or 100K, so there's gonna be shit dropping left and right.
she then said Eternals 2 will be Judgment Day. We've been asking about that too. Where's Arishem in this Judgment Day thing? But anyway, Eternals 2 is going to be Judgment Day and be more cosmic. Chloe Zhao is not attached. I'm not shocked. There's a chance she will not return to do the sequel, and I'm not shocked. Then she said Deadpool 3 will be a direct follow-up of Deadpool 2. Wade, using Cable's time machine, will travel into the future to save Wolverine from dying. Logan does not know who that guy is and wants him gone, but using a time machine and changing history will get them on the TVA's radar. And it says Jessica Chastain is being eyed to play the main villain in Captain America: New World Order. Oh, multiple villains. That's right. There's multiple villains in Captain America: New World Order. Okay, I forget. I'm like, wait a minute.
A million of them.
Yeah. Then she goes on to say, none of this is the 100K scoop. Then somebody asked the main villain is ? Then she said, not who you think it is. I know she's talking about Red Hulk. I know that's what she's saying. She's saying Red Hulk is not the main villain like you think he is, because that's been the reports these past few days. And she said, I said Rocket dies years ago, but I'd admit I was wrong. He lives. Also not the 100K scoop. Who the fuck is dying in Guardians? Then somebody said, how many villains are there in this goddamn movie? She said, not telling you who the other two are yet, but she did say the leader, Val, Ross, she said 5, including Ross, Val, and the leader. She's not giving the other 2. Then somebody said, oh, yeah. Whoa. Bing, bing, bing. What the fuck? Yeah, bro. So I definitely, wow. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That'll be some shit to talk about tomorrow for sure. For sure. Okay. You can go ahead and finish some of those.
To it. That was just
It's interesting.
I'm going to keep checking, too, to see if that 100K one drops. So your connoisseur Triple Salute said, I have a feeling it'll be a good movie. I mean, man, anything's better than the last Green Lantern movie we got, so...
I think it'll be good. It just,
I mean, I think... I mean, a lot of these movies have potential to be great. It's just, I want to know what DC's doing and where it fits in. Like, are we going to get more John afterwards? Are we establishing a better Lantern Corps? Right. And DC's like, still can't get that GL Corpse popping. Let's see here. Oh, I scrolled way the fuck down, my bad. I'm back. Johnny Stevens said, they ain't giving Jon Stewart a film. I hope they do. I really hope they do. Vale Superb said, Darius, how would you like the X-Men being introduced into the MCU? How would you like them to come in?
Man. I've thought about this. When I say I've thought about it, I mean I've thought about how is the MCU going to bring them in? That's more what I've thought about than how I would want them to come in. And to be honest with you, with the current where the MCU currently is, I don't know how I would even want them to come in, because it would have to make sense, the current story and timeline being told in Marvel. And how do you explain their absence with Thanos? How do you explain their absence with, Kang, if they're not going to be involved and it's going to be the Fox X-Men? There's all these major events, and were they just dormant? They're just sleeping. They just, there's that Tobey Maguire meme of where were they, where were the Eternals during Thanos? And it's that Tobey Maguire meme of when Peter lost his powers and was eating the hot dog as the raindrops keep falling, and they were playing that, and Tobey Maguire's just walking through the battle of the final battle of Endgame, just hanging out. And it's like, what are they just doing that? Because it's like, where are they at? So I don't know exactly how I would really want them to be brought in.
Right, and that's weird for a lot of people. Like, that's what I've always said about Doom. where he does play in the background all the time, but like, you ain't telling me with all the events that have happened, he ain't trying to jump on spring one opportunity yet. He didn't want them fucking that Infinity Gauntlet for himself. You know, stuff like that where it's like, I get it, he plays in the shadows, but half of the world died. You're not playing in the shadows that much. And the stones to rewrite all of creation, like...
Right.
You don't even want to get your hands on one of them. Come on now, he would. You know
right.
he would.
Yeah.
So I think they gotta... I don't know, however they're going to bring people in that haven't been in, I need to see it for myself. Because I don't know how I would do it at this point.
I'm not sure. Good question, though.
Mm-hmm. And Raymond 2000 said a Green Lantern Corps series would have been the best way to establish the Corps, the lore, and please, for God's sakes, give us Jon Stewart already.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but they could also do the movie, and then at the end of the movie, he brings up that, like, let's say another hero's talking to him, because it's an established DCU, and he says something about... I mean, they could even be like, you should join the League, and he's like, I've got a league of my own, and we get into the Corps. I mean, they can do it whichever way, but
right.
I do want to see a full Corps. Gray said they need a story group. All of this shouldn't be coming from Gunn himself. Gunn needs a PR. That's what he needs. None of this should be coming from Gunn at this point. Diesel said James should just stay off social media. Yeah.
I've said that, yeah. Just like...
Johnny Stevens said... John is a positive image for black men. Hollywood doesn't want that out there. Stop saying John will have the movie. It's Hall's. It's Hal that's getting the movie.
Yeah, but we also don't know that Hal's getting the movie. We don't know who's getting a movie. We don't even know if this is a movie. So right. Saying that it's a movie does not then necessarily mean that it is a movie. That is my speculation.
Right.
It's one of the things that I would like for them to do if it's being canceled from a HBO Max series. I would like for them to make it a movie. Mm-hmm. But me saying that it's a movie does not then make it a movie. I have no power at DC.
But I also heavily believe it's John just because, you know, they were slated to do Jon Stewart. You know, it's what they're talking about here. And they said, oh, it's canceled. James Gunn said fake. I really think he's gonna play ball here. I think. And that, I mean... Like I said, Hal's a beloved Green Lantern, but he's kind of like Barry. He's kind of like... I mean, how many of the goofy, haha, good old boy white guys do you want on screen? Then you're going to run into the same issue Marvel did where you try to play catch-up later and cast diverse, you know, heroes that exist in your universe that you just didn't do. People are going to bitch about it.
Right.
Let's see here. Diesel said it's worked for Kevin Feige. Official. Hold on, did I go down a little bit? No, okay, I got it. Official Liam G said, I think James is being specifically vague because DC still had a slate of films coming out next year. IMO would have just,
in my opinion,
put them all on HBO Max. The Jinx one said it's canceled in its current form. I think he'll craft it into a cool movie series.
That's what I'm thinking.
He's
you
talking
know,
about Green Lantern, yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking if anything, because like I said, this is all speculation. He could just be saying the entire article's fake. It's still on track to do what it was going to be doing, and that's a series. We don't know. You know, we don't know. Because again, like Official MG said, I've said that too. I think he's vague on purpose. And the vague on purpose is because he's just out here just saying nope, yes, nope, that's not happening, nope, it is happening, we don't know, some things we haven't decided if they're happening, you know. So that's why he said in January we'll know more.
And then Ant-Man 1991 said when they do the Agatha series, I hope they use the Agatha all along as the series theme. That was so good when it first happened. I wasn't on Reddit. I had no idea it was coming. I didn't look up anything, right? And that pulled the rug out. I was like, no fucking way. And let's see here. Andre Ware said Phil Lamar did the voice of Jon Stewart, and he did an amazing job. Yes, he did. Diesel said Eternals has its small fan base, but I haven't heard one hardcore Eternals fan say they love that film. Even people who love it, they admit it's got its faults.
Definitely does.
I did not like it personally. So Ronnie Silas said, I think Jon Stewart will be a movie because I believe Gunn wants... Keeps jumping down. Oh, his version of the Justice League. Yeah, I mean, I would be cool if he went for Justice League Unlimited. I mean, I really would. Everyone who watched Justice League Unlimited is 35 and below now, right? Probably. So I have no complaints about them basically porting that over.
No, and Gunn did say that he
it's
wants
smart
to base
too.
a lot off the animation.
Justice League Unlimited jumped pretty quickly into the Watchtower's ready. You know, they went right into it. Let's see here. DJF and I said they should do both Hal Jordan Lantern Corps and Jon Stewart movie. Let's get one at a time for me. I mean, let's just see how it goes, I guess. I just feel like I just need to see what they're doing overall. Nico Bean said if they bring the X-Men in the MCU, they better start off with Wolverine versus Hulk movie. Mm-hmm. So I want to segue them in. Raymond 2000 said, I didn't mind Eternals. Well, Raymond, we've had your movie rating opinions before.
After my 16th watch, I don't mind it, but that third act still is...
I watched it once and wasn't a fan.
Yeah, that third act sucks.
And Nico Bean says, I think the best way to bring them in is because they became aware they can't hide anymore, have them deal with their families being dusted, and then regret not taking action.
I mean, well, that was always the idea that I said, too. Well, not my idea. It wasn't my idea. I want to say maybe Gray had mentioned it in the chat. It might have been Gray. I can't remember who exactly it was. But that Cerebro is that Professor X had just used Cerebro to clear everyone's minds of the X-Men. And that's why no one knows who they are. They're just living amongst everyone else, minding their business. But then again, I don't know. It's an idea, though.
I'm going to be real honest with you, though. I would hate the characters that... You're having aliens show up on Earth and attack and kill people. You're having the whole Sokovia incident. You're having Thanos show up. Thanos' army show up more than once. And you're telling me none of them were hero enough to be like, no, I'm going to go help?
I mean, they told us that in Eternals. There was 10 of them. Could have used Icarus.
I mean, but I'm just saying that. But I don't care for the Eternals here. I'm saying the X-Men. If they're like, oh yeah, we let all that happen because we were too scared to do anything, then I wouldn't justifiably believe later. Oh, y'all are really valiant heroes who will sacrifice.
So, are you going to believe that about the Eternals though? When they come back and if they do something valiant in Secret Wars or something valiant in Eternals 2, because that is literally the premise that they gave us for the Eternals. Is that the Celestials?
That's why I'm not a big fan of it, because it's like, y'all let people die. Y'all aren't heroes, for that matter. You watched. And so that's why I wasn't attached to it. It's like, y'all could have done something, and you didn't.
Yeah, but I mean, I get what you're saying. I'm just saying, like, if we do see the X-Men come in and that is their premise, if they were to use that exact same thing, which I wouldn't want, but if they were to use that exact same thing, I don't know. I mean...
If we just had the moment where Scott looks at Wolverine or someone and it's like, no, we have to help them, we have to sacrifice, any of the hero moment, if I've got to do this, in the back of my mind, I am going to go.
Well, they did that in Eternals. That was themes in Eternals.
And that's why I didn't like Eternals.
Druig wanted to help. Druig was like, we got to help them, and Ajax was like, no, we can't. Those were...
Right. Oh, then that's what I'm saying. That's why I don't know. It wouldn't sit right with me. In the back of my head, I'd always have to think, y'all are morally gray, not on the morally right side right now. But we'll see. Diesel said Marvel HQ, we know the Eternals were too late and they don't make sense within the context of the universe. Just go with it. Jinx once said, I think focusing on a Green Lantern Corps movie would be too risky and expensive for a first movie. They should just focus on one, John or Hal. I agree. And that's why I'm saying maybe Hal can bring, John at the end of it can be like, I don't need to join a team. I'm already a part of a team. Here's the Corps, right? Just because we saw with Eternals, introduced too many people at once. Y'all really like all them fucking Shazams?
DJ F. Nice just said Marvel has to develop the hate for the mutants. And then to take it up to what D. Stizzle said, agreed, using Cerebral, it's the simplest explanation to even cause fans, to even casual fans, know what Cerebral is. And I said both of those together because that is a way that you could establish hate for the mutants in the MCU. You fucks have been here this whole time and you didn't help us, and you have superpowers. Now, it's not the same hate as the hate that they're, the way they're hated in the comics. They're hated in the comics because of the X gene. But it's like... I mean, I don't know, bro. This is why I couldn't answer Valley Superb's question, because it's like,
that's
I don't
what
know.
I get into of knowing the characters and their arguments, right? The humans hating mutants because they let it happen and could have done something. Now that defeats Magneto's argument at all.
Exactly.
Of racism and prejudice. It's like, no, it's because you fucking let them die. Like,
right. That's why I'm like...
We'll see. That's what I'm saying. Because I, at this point, wouldn't know if I was in charge of it how to do it, other than... This is not 616. We're about to go to 616 incursion. Right. Here we go. Fuck it all. We'll restart it. Gray said a lot of kids grow up watching Jon Stewart in the Justice League. I hope James Gunn knows that going forward. That's what I'm saying. It ain't even kids, man. Fuck. We're all. I mean, if you were between 40 and 25, it was on in the morning when you were a kid. Like, yeah. It's only old heads that are like, how? John was my... I was shocked when I figured out Green Lantern was a white guy. That there was a white Green Lantern. Yeah. I was confused when I was little. Diesel said, just say Charles Xavier kept mutants off the radar with Cerebral, like an Ultimate X-Men. And Tipman 1991 said, I hope James Gunn announces Static Shock to the DCU. If he does, then Caleb McLaughlin would be perfect for the role. I want Static Shock so fucking bad. That's all I fucking want out of DC. I'm gonna be real honest with you. Velspurp said, I know most people hate it, but I think... is this the one you read? Bringing the X-Men in from a world that experienced an incursion can work. Okay. I just don't think the whole they've been here all along secretly angle works. You want to undermine their heroism.
I mean, I don't know. Again, that's why I said I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they do it. They could. It could be an incursion situation, right, where... And
then DJF and I said Marvel has to develop hate for the mutants first. And, like, yeah, that's a big thing to me because, like, there are repeated and often hate crimes against mutants. Just knowing someone is a mutant causes a visceral reaction from most of regular humans within the MCU. Mm-hmm. Like, just hearing you're a mutant, everyone is, clutch your baby, run.
Right.
Like, you know? So you gotta get that level of... Again, one of my favorite Magneto introductions, these torturing rednecks because they had a mutant girl in the truck, and she wasn't even a powerful mutant girl, just a slight mutagen. And we're like, save yourself, mutie, and threw her out of the back of the truck, killed her. Like,
and see, that kind of, on the incursion part, so are we saying that every mutant from that world made it from the incursion? Because that's how that would have to happen. Because we're not just talking X-Men, we're talking mutants. So they're calling it the Mutant Saga, is what rumored Phase 7 is called, the Mutant Saga. Uh-huh. So that would mean that every mutant, not just the X-Men, but every mutant would have to jump from whatever Earth to our Earth.
It's a mess, yeah.
That's why I said I don't know how the fuck they do this. I don't.
Yeah, Nico Bean said, I agree with this. He said, hell, you could say that with Age of Ultron. Magneto would be at the UN's doorstep asking them why his kids were fighting along the fighting with the Avengers. Yeah. Magneto would shut that shit down. And let's see here. Diesel said, use Cerebral, keep mutants off the radar on the globe, except for maybe S.H.I.E.L.D. And again, that explains that, but it doesn't explain the world's opinion on them. Grace said, hope Green Lantern series focuses on John's training with flashbacks, Hal's training, showing the differences between the two of them, and then let the movies focus on them meeting and having to partner up.
Yeah.
Vale Superb said, and it would heighten the alien way normal people view the X-Men, because we have talking raccoons, so why would humans with superpowers be treated so badly and discriminated against? I can see them giving... Oh, wait. Different person. Yep. Sorry. Johnny Stevens said, I can see them giving John a movie if he was like some jive-talking caricature of the black man, or like a sidekick to Hal. Hollywood doesn't want that strong portrayal of a black man out there.
They may not.
Official EMG said, team movies can work without introductions if you have a good writer and director. Agreed. Reggie Foster said, glad to have you back, sir. If you're talking about me, thank you. Appreciate the love. Official EMG said, I hope they make it a Kang-related reason as to why they're not there, because at this point, it's the only thing that will make sense for where they've been.
Agreed to that one, too.
Kenny Pierce said, hit the like button, y'all, and don't forget to show some love. Yes, please, everyone, like.
Appreciate it, Kenny.
We would greatly appreciate it. Diesels and mutants can be anyone. That's part of the reason why they're hated. They're someone's friends, family members, etc. Well, they're also hated because there's also a lot of mutants that have done some wild shit. Absolutely wild shit. I mean, think about it. Someone with extreme powers, you think regular police force can bring that person in if they chose to act out? You know? You can't bring me in. You can't fucking stop me. A young kid experiencing their mutant powers for the first time fucks up and kills somebody. They get panicked and you can't stop them. The Jinx One said, I think the hatred for mutants could come as more of a superhuman people are revealed, which creates an uneasiness, but when mutants begin to pop up, it creates a fright that anyone can be a freak. Ram 2000 said, how they introduce mutants will make or break the future of the MCU, just like how Superman reboot will make or break the future of DC.
Yeah, I agree to that too.
Jinx 1 said, we see in She-Hulk that there's already a sizable superhuman population, throw in mutants. That causes an explosion in superhuman population. The normies are beginning to get scared. Double sources of the hate for mutants will stem from fear. Imagine a 12-year-old being able to make things at school. School districts would be kicking those kids out.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's the typical rogue when she first unlocks her powers. And actually, I'll use the perfect fucking example is Coven from American Horror Story when she unlocks her witch powers and kills her boyfriend on accident.
Yeah.
That's all it takes is a oops, and then it's bad. Mm-hmm. Nico Bean said, imagine Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan just gathering and mentoring Simon Baz and Jessica Cruz in OA. That would be golden, not to mention setting up the introduction of Kyle Rayner and Gardner. We gotta get there. It'd be a little bit, we gotta get there. Mm-hmm. Gray said, what were the mutants? Where were the mutants when Thanos showed up? Xavier, we were at a family barbecue. Magneto, none of your fucking business. I agree with the Magneto line. That's what I'm saying. The heroes got to explain some shit. Magneto don't got to explain anything. And D. Stizzle said, I'm talking about their powers getting triggered by a traumatic event, usually end up hurting themselves or others around them. Yeah, so that's a thing. But then also you've got to think, there are mutants who, like, imagine someone who's just bad mentally or not good on life or just inclined to crime, bad home life, finds out they can shoot fucking fireballs or they have impenetrable skin or can shoot spikes, and then they go on a rampage and you can't stop them. You need another mutant to come in and do it, or the fucking military to stop a 14-year-old with spikes coming out of his body. Like, that's horrifying. And on top of that, the real, and it's an honest question the military would have is, we have to do something about that. It'll force their hand, and then you have motherfuckers like Magneto that'll make it a million times worse.
Yeah.
And to what Valley Superb said there, he said, no, not just X-Men, maybe along with 100K normal civilians of that planet, and they can mention that many mutants died too, just not any of those ones from the comics. So yeah,
like I said, that's why I said it's interesting, it's confusing. I think what Official EMG said too, involve Kang in some way, maybe. I don't have a good way. I can't, I'm not going to sit here and lie. I don't have a good way.
But I do think they're
waiting.
Smart for keeping it in their pocket and not doing anything yet, because they'll find a way to do it. Instead of just leaking, they've been here the whole time. Like, no. Right. Make it an event, do something.
Right.
I'll even take it if it's kind of half-assed. Because I get it wasn't bad writing, it was, you didn't own the rights.
And see, it's going to be such a fun time when we get to the X-Men, because the conversations, the speculation, the theory videos, the scoops and leaks that come out, again, if done correctly, you can see Marvel in their golden age again, if done correctly. So yeah, bro.
Shout out Tim's Talks on your left and Chillmonger on your right.
Appreciate you being here, Tim. Appreciate you being here, Chill. Official MG said, my thought was maybe Kang kept them out of the timeline because they would ultimately be too powerful and could easily stop him. I want to say Official MG that there was a rumor, or rather a theory, maybe not a rumor, but a theory that was something that was going to be done. That ultimately Kang had displaced or done something with the X-Men because they're on his list of, they're so powerful, he was afraid of what they could do and his plans for taking over and conquering everything. So that I've seen that could be something that's done.
I'm going to address this one down here. Omega095 said, listen, I'm not defending Ezra Miller, but there's a video of a woman named Anna Rosa who claimed the allegations on Ezra are false, and the true story, she got abused by her husband and Ezra saved her. So the thing is two things can be true at the same time, right? He could have saved her from her husband, but also do terrible things. We have police reports, witness testimony of his plaguing attacks on Hawaii that he had, the parents of the daughter and the text messages of him grooming. are out. I mean, it's pretty common knowledge, and one woman who's not related to any of these events, when all the witnesses involved in the events say that this is what happened to them, like, I don't know. And I just also don't think that one good deed makes up for many bad deeds.
I really don't know on the Ezra Miller shit. And on the Ezra Miller stuff, I mean,
I've not seen that Omega Zero. I'm not doubting you at all. I'm sure that is true. I'm sure that is a statement that's out there from.
Right.
I want to say I've seen that name, but I will say that I'm sure that is a true statement that's out there from this person. But as far as the things go with Miller, as Trey said, there are some things out there that particular instant may be one of the instances, plural, instances where he might not have, or they might not have been at fault, but there are many other instances that they've been involved in where it's like, okay.
Hitting the karaoke, hit him in the head with a chair on film.
I don't think, is that on film?
I
know they arrested. I know they
bar.
arrested him. That's all on film. Taking him out of the bar. That's all on film.
Right, there is film in the bar, but I guess they probably don't have the chair hit, but
probably because it was just unexpected. It's like,
right,
oh, you
that's
hit her
what I mean,
for singing karaoke at a karaoke bar.
Right, and she was injured. The police wrote a report. Like,
yeah. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure
hey,
at all.
maybe she was just a bad singer. I don't know.
D Sizzle said, I know Mr. Sinister wasn't a mutant and gained his abilities through Apocalypse, but still, as far as like, you know,
things like that, yeah. So we'll move on here to the next topic, and the next topic that we're going to talk about is, some of you guys might have seen me tweet this out. I retweeted this, and it had come out. It come out on Twitter that Mephisto was going, and let me make sure I just get this tweet correct here, so I'm not making something up. But let me.
You're lying.
Let me read this tweet verbatim for you. So what they were saying, they said, Mephisto's design in Ironheart will look similar to DC's Lobo with medieval armor. And no, this is not a lie. The concept art has come out and, well, leaked out of Mephisto, what the hood will look like in Ironheart's suit in her series, what it'll look like also.
So brace yourselves for
I haven't seen the art yet.
our Lobo Mephisto.
Here he is. Should be, oh, there it is. What to say? Should be coming up. The anticipation, it is killing everyone.
It should be popping up in like 3. Oh, there he is.
Fuck!
There he is.
What the fuck? He looks like Gene Simmons.
Yeah, he's our Gene Simmons Mephisto.
No!
There. Yeah.
No!
Isn't that beautiful?
The fucking Disney won't show him as the devil with the red skin and the wild hair and the cape.
But you know
The
what?
fuck?
I refuse to believe that one, because the relationship between Disney and China is like so fucking severed.
I wasn't even talking about China. I'm just saying, does Disney want to literally put a person who calls himself basically Satan?
He is
and rules
Satan.
over
Then
hell?
don't do the character.
Well, I mean, he's not, but that's what he claims.
I mean, but he basically is.
Yeah.
He's basically Satan, though. He's basically the fucking devil.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't want to do that, then don't do the character.
Right.
Because this, as I tweeted out, and we talked about this last week, guys. We talked about the whole Mephisto rumors with the Agatha and everything like that. And one of the biggest things that we talked about was Sacha Baron Cohen bringing a comedic type of role to Mephisto. This look is comedic. I don't like it. Why is he wearing medieval armor? Why does he look like someone from Kiss? Like, I don't like this. Yeah, this
Man, no, that's fucked too, because Mephisto has been done serious, conniving, sinister, and he's also been done kind of humorous, where he's kind of fucking around. None of them did he look like an extra for a fucking Kiss biopic. None of this is like, what the fuck, man?
If I had to choose one of the 3, and I'm being facetious here, but if I had to choose one of the 3, it's this one.
The one that looks like Billy Idol?
They all look terrible. Maybe this one.
The one that looks like Flash Gordon?
Because he's got more red on. I don't know.
No!
Why does he have on armor?
Why is his skin not red?
So now with this is our first look at it. Now take Sacha Baron Cohen, put him in the makeup, put him in his everything, and he does. And are you thinking we're gonna get a serious Mephisto?
I think I'm getting seriously pissed is what I'm getting. This is the same fucking thing they did to Gore the God Butcher. And the minute I saw Gore the God Butcher, we have the video, one of our earliest videos. I saw what Gore looked like, and I said, fuck this movie.
It is.
I'm seeing Mephisto. Fuck. No, man.
It is exactly what a lot of us were saying we did not want this to be.
I mean, but...
I'll show the others here, too. Here's Ironheart. Some of the stuff from Ironheart, what her suit's going to look like here. I mean, I'm sorry it's so blurry. This is not my computer. This is just... It's leaked. It's not, it's not supposed to be out. So this is what her suit's going to look like here. And then, of course, you've got the Hood, who's going to be played by Anthony Ramos. And then Can We Get Some Toast did tweet about it and say Mephisto looks like a Lobo cosplayer. Got introduced to some medieval armor. Also, Zelma, who is in Stranger Academy in the comics, is in Ironheart. Blah 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 blah. Showing off her magic and helping to fight against demonic forces and evil. This is why Mephisto is showing up, and rumored is that the Hood is an apprentice to Agatha. Agatha having the connection to Mephisto as to why Mephisto is going to be in the show. Also rumored that Catherine Hahn's Agatha is going to show up in the show. Also rumored Mephisto is in Agatha Coven of Chaos. Also rumored Sacha Baron Cohen has recently done filmed his scenes in LA for Mephisto. So this is all happening. Sacha Baron Cohen is Mephisto. This could be our Mephisto look moving forward. This is what we're going to be possibly getting moving forward. Unless something changes, unless, whatever. But I also asked this question. With Jason Momoa, James Gunn, and DC and company doing Lobo, Marvel was so afraid of... Maybe that's why Marvel jumped the gun with this. I don't know. Marvel was so afraid of making Gore look like Gore because they thought that we as the audience were unintelligent enough to discern the difference between Gore and Voldemort, that they gave us the Gore that they gave us. So I wonder what DC does. I wonder if James Gunn's just like, fuck it, I'm still doing Lobo, and he's going to look the fucking way that this guy looks because this middle one is Lobo. So it's like I don't know. I don't know, but it's funny because we talked about this last week, and this is exactly what everyone's concerns were. And this is and as I tweeted out, it can't be this hard to get this shit right. It cannot be this hard to get this shit right. Over at Marvel, over at whatever studio touches beloved lore, beloved characters, beloved stories. All you got to do is go to the source material.
So, see, that would be my thing, and that's where I'm starting to get annoyed about this shit. Because, the studio keeps fucking doing it, but, if you're an actor, and I sign up to do a role, I'll do Mephisto, one of the most iconic Silver Age villains in Marvel publication history. A man so terrifying he has tortured Ghost Rider, he has tortured Silver Surfer, right? And I'm going to pull up the character before I even fucking audition and go, I'm going to play this guy. And then I get what it looks like. I'm throwing a fit. Because at this point, actors need to know how fans are going to react to these fucking things.
Yeah.
Like they mentioned Gore didn't look Christian Bale-y enough. We want Gore, not Christian Bale. We want Mephisto, not... And I really think, it's just me, it's that Disney shit. It's that we don't want a demonic entity. We don't want the devil. Satan, the MCU's devil who rules over hell. Red skin, the crazy fucking hair to show up. We don't want that
then
in
don't
our...
do it.
For the kiddos and for the... Yeah, then don't do it.
Don't do the character.
Because you're going to make him some goofy... satyr acting fucking and it's like
I'm interested to see how Sacha Baron Cohen pulls this one off. How's he gonna portray Mephisto?
I mean, but still, I mean, I can tell you from I keep going back to Gore just for the example, but fucking, why am I forgetting his name right now? Actor portrayed Gore.
Christian Bale.
Yeah, Christian Bale. His acting was great. He's good. He's not a bad actor. His look took me out of it. Sacha Baron Cohen can act as good as he wants. That's not Mephisto. It looks goofy.
Yeah.
It does. I just...
Yeah. Well, I couldn't wait to share that one. I didn't know if everybody had seen that or not, or what was going on, or anything with that. But I could not wait to show that one to you guys. But no, that's Mephisto in the MCU. That is the leaked concept art there for Mephisto, for Riri Williams' Ironheart and her new suit, for Anthony Ramos' hood, and everything going on there. That's what we've got so far. So. Like I always say, the question is for you guys. What are you guys thinking of Mephisto's new look or MCU look, rather? What are you thinking of his MCU look? What are you thinking of Anthony Ramos' hood and how the suit looks for him in the concept art? And also, I think that, Riri Williams' Ironheart suit looks dope there. It looks way better than the clunky thing that she had on in Wakanda Forever. So let us know down below what you guys are thinking about all these things going on with Mephisto, and also, I don't know if this was ever answered. I think I might have asked this in the last Mephisto video we talked about, but your thoughts on Sacha Baron Cohen portraying Mephisto as well. Let us know all these things down below. What is the chat saying?
Raymond 2000 said Ironheart is going to suck. We're going to start with that right there.
Oh, well, that's typical Raymond.
No, I'm gonna honestly be real with that. I have more worries than yays at this point.
Until Ironheart is ever tweeted about or discussed or someone brings up, I forget about it. And that's not.
It's not something I'm pumped and like, oh my god, I got to see that. But I don't think it's gonna wow me regardless.
My interest is Agatha.
If she's in it.
Official DMG said, yeah, Mephisto looks like a mess in that concept art, but I'm just happy Riri's suit is gonna be pink like in the comics. Gray said, Detroit Rock City. Ram 2000 said, Mephisto doesn't look like. Or don't look like Lobo. He looks like the villain from The Princess and the Frog. The Jinx one said, no way, that can't be Mephisto. Chillmonger said that Ironheart suit is on point. It does look cool.
It does look good.
It does look good.
I like that it's thinner.
Nier said those look like AI-generated images. It's just the leak shit.
You know what? I've seen people saying that too. People keep saying that this is like. I don't think so. I've seen, because people have been arguing that on Twitter. People are like, this is not a set leak. This is not a set leak. This is not a concept art leak. This is AI. I don't think so, bro. Mm-hmm. I don't think so. I'm telling you. I mean, if we could be wrong, we could come out and say that, hey, this is
it fucking better be.
This is AI generated, but.
Diesel said funny how they were too scared to bring in Lady Death, but they're bringing him in. Yeah. Well, you see how they're bringing him in. Look at him. He doesn't look, Chillspot said, why does Mephisto look like Gene Simmons? I don't know. Pert Mind said, this is the Tenacious D sequel. He looks... No. Tenacious D at least looks like the devil. I would take the Tenacious D devil over that Mephisto. 10 out of 10 times. Johnny Stevens said, I never liked Mephisto, so this is hilarious, and I hope this embarrasses the character so much that he's permanently retconned for Marvel. Damn. Oscar said, I don't know. I mean, Oscar said, Mephisto looks like from the band Kiss. Diesel said MCU Kiss version. Sir G said, the only excuse I have for maybe what this pick is, that maybe it's the Council of Red. Could be different versions of Mephisto. Or it could also be a Mephisto trying to disguise himself for whatever reason, but why would you disguise yourself like that? You know what I mean?
Could be.
Yeah, I mean, you would disguise yourself as a normal-looking person, but not whatever. Grayson Mephisto looks like some Mr. Sinister variants. Johnny Stevens said it should be all three. Sir Yuri G said, I do like the look of the hood. I mean, it's a red hood. It's hard to not do that. I mean, I'm not saying he looks bad at all. I'm just like, I think I'm just so fucking mad at Mephisto right now. I'm not going to be glad about anything about this fucking series.
I like Anthony Ramos. Yeah. I like him.
Ant-Man 1991 said, I imagine Mephisto as the devil himself. This ain't it. Ironheart and Hood look good, though. Mm-hmm. And so we just had an Ironheart. Oscar said Ironheart is going to be even more ridiculous looking like in Wakanda Forever. Omega 095 said, I'm pretty sure Toby Bonner and Andrew Bonner coming to the series.
I have not heard. But then again, there's not too much besides some of the casting things.
Joe Monger says, since you said serious, if Marvel were serious about Ironheart, they wouldn't use her series to cater to a fan theory culture. They should be too occupied adapting Riri's origin for Mephisto to fit in. Senior G said, personally, I'm not hyped for this show, but if anyone is, hope it's good for y'all.
Like I said, I don't.
Remind says he looks show enough. Who's the master? Gray said Riri and Parker looks dope though. Diesel said Riri has no real villains, but the Hood and Mephisto are still odd choices. Dumbledore said they screwed up Gore completely. Christian Bale was very annoyed at the red carpet, saying they cut out a lot of Gore's kills. Johnny Stevens said, I really hope Ironheart is canceled because why? He's also ruined Spider-Man's 20-year marriage. Yeah, great character. Well, yeah, Mephisto. Yeah, I mean, but that's his purpose. He's evil for evil's sake. You know, trust me, I do like a villain that I can look from their eyes and be like, damn, you make a lot of fucking sense, man. And then I like some villains that it's like, damn, you're just evil, dude. You don't need to justify it. And that's Mephisto. Yeah. You know, when you start getting into Ghost Rider and more of the monster and demonic side of the MCU, your Blades, your so on and so forth, like, Mephisto has a role and he has a purpose for you. You want it just a pure evil dude.
Right.
And also, like, I'm not gonna lie, I want to see Doom bitch slap the shit out of him too, so that's another thing. Grayson Mephisto looks like Lobo, Mr. Sinister, and Gene Simmons all wrapped into one. J-Rob said, wait a minute, did they turn Parker black now? Talking about Hood?
Yes. Yes, it's Anthony Ramos is playing him. Yes.
Diesel said, to be real, Mephisto is the type of villain that would pop up anywhere, and this is still an odd choice. Agreed.
I never understood why he's popping
other
up.
Than Agatha being
well,
in
yes,
it.
other than the Agatha
being
stuff.
Propped up by. It's different to have a cameo in a series to see if people like the character, but don't have so many cameos just to prop up your fucking show. Like, if the show doesn't have legs to stand on its own, don't make it. Joe Margaret said somebody read Infamous Iron Man by accident and thinks Hood is her villain. At least, Johnny Stevens said, "I'm loving this." Jalen Harris said, "I find, with the look, or I'm fine with the look, but that's just me." Amen 21 said, "Out of all the major villains, Marvel got Thanos and Kang right, but they can't Gore and Mephisto." Jeez, yeah. The concept art for Gore was so much better than what we got in Thor 4.
Yeah.
And then Johnny Stevens said, that's my Mephisto. Monster said, that's not Mephisto, but Kifisto or Lobisto.
Yeah, it's a weird look, for
Johnny
sure.
Stevens said, the derpier the better. I hope he looks like that and wears a thong with Mickey Mouse ears in the actual show. I think, though, my favorite panel of Mephisto is... it's in one of the Black Panthers, actually, that I read once we started getting more into Wakanda Forever, where a reporter who was trying to do a report on T'Challa got stuck waiting for T'Challa with Mephisto, and Mephisto's sitting in his fucking chair, and the reporter doesn't have it, he's just in his underwear, and Mephisto's just awkwardly chilling, like 12-foot-tall monster, just kind of hanging out. Let's see here. Oster said, if Ironheart looks, this is not under Ryan Coogler, shows him and his team has no visual of concept art. These says it kind of looks like Jason Momoa in that getup. Yep. J-Rob said, what?
I said Lobo.
Yeah. J-Rob said, do you want the Aldean News or the Aldean News? So Yuri G said if they wanted to go for a good look for Mephisto, go for the look he has in the comics now. Him in the business suit.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be dope, too. That'd be really dope, too.
He is in the
But
suit.
that's what I'm saying, though. I feel like you want to go the suit. Honestly, I'd be kind of dope with that, and they're like cool with that. And then the first time someone really steps up to him, you see what he really looks like.
That's what they did to Khonshu. I mean, putting Khonshu in the suit at the end of Moon Knight.
Purple Minded said meant to say he looks like Snownuff. Nico Bean said, why was Ironheart introduced in Wakanda Forever? Still trying to figure that out. They had to find some way to bring her in. Omega Zero said, do you think Harley Keener might cameo in Ironheart?
What I'd say about anything with Wakanda Forever is
stop trying to hurt yourself.
Yeah.
Don't hurt yourself trying to figure it out. There's nothing to figure out in that film. I don't know how much I could shit on this film with telling people to just stop. Like,
Yeah.
the mental gymnastics you have to do to make sense of that film can give you an aneurysm. Be very careful. Like, that's being dead ass. I don't think about it because it
Yeah.
hurts.
And D Sizzle said Radioactive Man would have been better. J Rob said Joe Quesadilla or did I say quesadilla? I thought he was making a joke. I know I really thought I was reading fast. I thought he was trying to be funny. Should play Mephisto. It's only right. Purple Minded said they could have just went the devil's advocate route and just had Mephisto in a suit. Yep, designed by himself to be human. Nico Bean said just sent y'all a message on Twitter. Got stuff ready for the project I told y'all about. Still developing and updating daily.
Oh,
Check
yes.
that out. Raymond 2000 said Ironheart should be introduced in her own series and then in Armor Wars if that movie was still a thing. Jesus said I'm not even a Mephisto fan, but it still looks goofy. MN91 said Marvel's going to make Mephisto a Lucifer 2.0. Kenny Pierce said they should make Mephisto look like Tom Ellis' Lucifer. And Ghost Dog said facts, Wakanda Forever makes sense. LBS?
I'm not sure.
But, yes,
Hey, I'm going to go on ahead while we're in between here and go ahead and relink the Discord in the chat and our Streamlabs in the chat.
Streamlabs is pinned.
It's pinned? Okay, cool, never mind. Just a reminder, join the Discord if you want to. We'd love to chat with you guys.
Yeah, it makes it makes he said makes no sense. Yeah, it makes no sense. It's just it is what it is. Don't hurt yourselves. I'm serious. It's don't think about it.
It's a deep hole that just gets deeper the more
What
you
did
do.
Drake say? Yeah, don't think about it too much. It'll hurt. So,
We'll move here to the last topic, and the last topic that we have here is just going to some Star Wars updates, and it's going to be some Star Wars news for the film coming out in 2025. We kind of talked about this last week, actually on Fridays when we talked about this, and it was the Damien Lindelof film that Bespin Bulletin had did a report about. Bespin Bulletin, outside of making Star Wars, is one of the other credible Star Wars leakers out there, and they had talked about they had talked about the Star Wars film that Damien Lindelof was going to be doing, that is going to start production in 2023. It's not going to be done, obviously, hitting theaters until 2025. So we've talked about that too, that Star Wars will not be hitting the big screen again until 2025. And we also know that this news is coming to us from Daniel RPK. And Daniel RPK has touched on some things that I have touched on before. I told you guys maybe 2-3 weeks ago now we talked about this, and I said that it had come from a very credible source. Josh over at Dinner Nerds had talked about it, and Josh has a very credible source from his Dude Trust Me Bro. Dude Trust Me Bro had told him, after we had all seen Daisy Ridley post the picture of herself at Skywalker Ranch, everybody was like, oh, what does that mean? Why is Daisy Ridley at Skywalker Ranch? Things like that, blah, blah, blah. Well, Dude Trust Me Bro came out and told Josh that the reason that she was there is because they were talking about the future of Star Wars films, meaning that they are going to do episodes 10, 11, and 12. This is the rumor right now. Take this with a grain of salt. But Daniel RPK has come up and corroborated that rumor, and he has said that they are indeed going to be doing something set in the set after the Rise of Skywalker film. And one thing that Dude Trust Me Bro had told Josh, and this also lines up with what Daniel RPK is saying, is that Oscar Isaac is coming back, is that Kelly Marie Tran is coming back as Rose Tico. It is also that Daisy Ridley is coming back as Rey. There has been no news as John Boyega coming back as Finn, and if I'm John Boyega, as I've said before, rightfully so, I'm not coming back. I don't care. And, you know, he said that some characters are going to return, but here's one of the main things, is that Daisy Ridley's Rey is not going to be the main character. The main character is going to be a female, a black female character. She's going to be the protagonist, the main protagonist of the film. And these are things that, you know, we've heard talking about the sequel trilogy and things like that. You know, you've had Rian Johnson come out and say that he's still in contact with Kathleen Kennedy, and that he wants to get back in the sandbox because there's things he wants to still do with Star Wars. But we also know that Kathleen Kennedy is on her way out. She's doing her This Is It tour as we speak. She is
going to promote Indiana Jones 5, but after that, she is done. But I will say, with Kathleen Kennedy being done, with Rian Johnson, I'm sure not coming back, because the studio, in my opinion, this is just me, would be damn daft to bring Rian Johnson back after you've already dismissed KK, because that was the only tie that he had to Lucasfilm, was Kathleen Kennedy. So you take Kathleen out, boom. You take away some of these other negative things going on within the Lucasfilm and things like that. You're getting positive names in here, like, we've heard that Dave Filoni is going to be in the writer's room for this Damien Lindelof film, and that he is going to be heavily looked at for source, as far as lore, as far as storytelling, as far as just Star Wars goes in general. We also know that Sean Levy, who directs Stranger Things, who is directing Deadpool 3, after he finishes Deadpool 3, he's coming over to start his Star Wars film that he is going to be directing. Not really sure. From what we understand, Damien Lindelof's film is going to still be that sequel trilogy stuff. So that's what's going on there. So before I get into the spoiler territory for Bad Batch, thoughts on the 2025 Damien Lindelof things?
So I actually saw Lindelof, he was talking on a podcast about, the question was brought up about whether you would have, Daisy Ridley come back, Finn come back, this and that. And I liked what he said, because he was like, he can't give away anything, but he mentioned he wants this to be a future story. He wants to get away from the Skywalker story. He wants to tell a new story. And I think Star Wars deserves the breath of fresh air for later canonical stories that they want to tell him. I feel like there is a bit of the way the movies work anyway, especially shown in these last three, there is a science to the movies. And I want a break from that. Star Wars is so good and has such a rich universe. You can kind of explore more. We need new. I want to see new things. Because, again, what is every first movie of a trilogy? They bring in the youth, tell them their destiny, the master dies. I mean, not that it's bad, it's a tried and true method, but they do it all the time. He wants to do something new, and I'm for it. So I liked that. What I didn't like is he didn't know if it was going to be his movie in 2025 or Taika Waititi's at first. And he was like, oh, it's mine. And that's what I was complaining about earlier with these big IPs in Green Lantern. That's what I said it anyway. I don't like that you don't even know when the fuck your movie's going to be. Oh, I thought it was going to be his movie. It's going to be mine. Like, that just... Those kind of things is where I do start grinding my teeth. And I'm like, this is Star Wars. Stop playing around. Get it together. But I think them bringing in the director they're choosing, that Filoni's going to be in it, definitely means it will be handled with more care, and a younger Star Wars group can really get in and make it their own thing. So, I mean, like I said, I'm excited. I'm always excited to hear Star Wars news. I'm excited that Kathleen Kennedy's out and we're getting Filoni heavily more involved. I do also hate that it's in 2025.
Yeah, it's gonna be a while before we get there.
But also, if we gotta wait till 2025, you better have a fucking story.
And maybe Lindelof, maybe he knows now. I don't know at the time of that podcast. Maybe he knows now. Maybe he doesn't know.
Well, no, he said that at first he didn't.
Well, that's what I'm saying. As far as the Taika stuff, I don't think that's happening. I don't think Taika's film's happening.
Right,
actually,
well, that's why Taika's was first supposed to be in 2025. Then it.
Taika's, we were actually supposed to be having Taika's in 2023.
Oh.
That shit was announced in 2019. I think people forget that.
Yeah.
That shit was announced in 2019. Taika's film was supposed to come out in 2023. Right. But, I don't...
Oh, shit. Did Lindelof do The Watchmen?
He did.
The movie or the series?
I think the series. I don't think he did... He might have done the movie. I'm not sure.
He also did Lost. I like this, man.
Yeah,
Lindelof, I knew he did Lost, but if you're talking the Watchmen movie too, I'm all for it.
Lindelof did. He's done some good things, and so it's like with Taika, Kevin Feige's film, Patty Jenkins, none of that shit, from my understanding, is on the table anymore. The only things currently on the table that are tangible are Sean Levy's film and Damien Lindelof's film. Those are the only things tangible on the table right now. But now I will jump in here to some of the spoiler territory stuff. Now, just like everything with the Book of Boba Fett, that terrible show, with Mando, with Bad Batch, with Obi-Wan. You had Easter eggs in Obi-Wan. You had Easter eggs in Mando. I'm sorry, Book of Boba Fett. We saw the cloning things in Mando. We saw the cloning things in Bad Batch. Like everything with Star Wars, like everything they're currently trying to do, because right now they're trying to course correct. They're trying to fix the plot gaps and the holes and the hatred for the sequel trilogy by making some of these series and everything interconnect, because that's what it's all got to come back to. It's all got to come back to the sequel trilogy, and they've already been hinting at that again in Mando with the cloning, with the Mount Tannis showing up in Bad Batch. I'm gonna get to that in just a second, but here's some Bad Batch news. And the Bad Batch news that we've got is that Grogu is mentioned in season 2. You don't see Grogu, but Grogu is mentioned in season 2 for Bad Batch. There's no context. We don't know who, what, when, where, why he is in or mentioned in Bad Batch. But the rumor out there right now is that he is mentioned in the show. And they also mentioned 2 other Jedi, the other being Gungi, which we know. We've seen Gungi in the trailers. That is the Wookiee Jedi. And the other Jedi is an unknown Jedi. And I kind of speculated that maybe it could be like a Quinlan Voss, or it could even be like because we know Quinlan was mentioned in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series as he was one of the ones guiding lost Jedi to safety and things like that. I forgot what exactly it was called in the Obi-Wan show, but Quinlan was one of the ones that survived Order 66. In the books and comics, goes on that darker route. He has a relationship. He becomes in a love interest and love relationship with Asajj Ventress, and they go on many adventures and things. He falls to the dark side. There's a lot of stuff that goes on. I'm not saying that we're going to see any of that shit. I'm just saying like it could be Quinlan Voss or something like that. But I've said it since Mando. I'm talking season 1 of Mando. I said it. I started putting the pieces together then. But if you take it back to Clone Wars, you take it back to the episode of when Palpatine hired Cad Bane to kidnap Force-sensitive children and take them to Mustafar so he could do testing on them. That was still a part of the cloning process that he was trying to, he was ramping up to get ready to, so he could start, being obsessed with immortality. He's constantly trying to clone himself, constantly trying to figure out how can he obtain immortality to be Palpatine, to rule forever and things like that. We started seeing it in Clone Wars, but then you saw it again for sure in Mando. When you saw Grogu and you saw the Empire's obsession with Grogu, then you saw the doctor from Kamino working on, trying to get the blood and things from Grogu and everything like that until Mando came in. Then even in season 2, we saw what at that Imperial station or wherever they were, there were they already started doing the cloning things as far as like the experimenting for the Snokes or for Palpatine's to transfer his essence or things like that. They've already started doing that. We even saw at the end of Bad Batch season 1, Nala Se, who is one of the Kaminoans over in Kamino before it was destroyed. Where was she taken? To Mount Tannis. What is Mount Tannis? One of the cloning facility used in Heir to the Empire. What is Ahsoka adapting? Heir to the Empire. I've been saying this. I've been saying it for a long time. It's all coming together. Heir to the Empire is what is being adapted. The cloning stuff that's going on, Grogu showing up in Bad Batch, knowing that Mount Tannis is in Bad Batch, knowing that Palpatine plays a much heavier role in Bad Batch Season 2, knowing that it's going to be we've already just watched them destroy Kamino because Palpatine wants to do his own type of cloning. That's legend stuff. That's stuff that they've just, this is all real. It's happening. So we know where they're going. It's just now they're putting the pieces together. It looks muddy. It looks messy. But if you know that story, you know how they're... And again, knowing that Dave's hand is on it, I just feel like all this is going to beautifully connect together. I've been saying this shit for almost a year.
Dave his props, too, because with Kennedy greenlighting so much shit and allowing so much shit, Dave has been like, no, woman! Like... I'm trying to tell the canon story here. And the only thing you've given me to tell the fucking canon story right now is Mando. So I'm setting it up. Mm-hmm. I'm fucking doing it. I don't care what y'all come up with in the meantime. I will deal with it.
Right.
The minute she's out the door, what are you hearing about the next major trilogy movie? Who's in the room? Dave Filoni. He's like, no, we're pulling... He was heading towards a cliff, pulling the reins on the horses, trying, and he's getting somewhere.
Right.
So, if Dave Filoni pulls this off, which it looks like he gets the chance to, praise to him. I'd never, to me, it wasn't a Dave Filoni's the problem. To me, it was just no one with heart was making Star Wars. No one with heart was doing it for a long time. And even though Dave was there and he does have heart, he was also just doing they shoehorned him into Mando, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he had no full control over it, right? So that's why for the longest time I'm like, this doesn't fucking. They just want my money, you know. Once again, we're talking Boba Fett. You just want my money.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking Obi-Wan series. You want my money. That is what it is. Bad Batch was a joke. You're going after legacy characters to get my attention and to watch your shit series, right? But now that she is gone and we're actually getting a, hey, let's bring this shit together and figure out what the fuck we're doing. Because even I can't think, Lidnoff said, at least in the podcast I saw, he kind of doesn't want anything to do with the sequels.
I wouldn't want anything to do with the
he
sequels.
literally, because he was asked, will any of them come back in that one? And he said, I don't know if I can reveal anything, but I want it to be its own thing away from the Skywalker series. I want it to be in the future a little bit where we can tell our story and not be shackled to that. And I heard that and was like, okay.
I don't blame him.
Yeah, because it was bad and you want to bring this fresh.
Yeah. I mean, and yeah.
Isn't it really bad that fucking Mando sold more as far as merch and everything else than the trilogy?
I will say
series?
no, because Mando felt like Star Wars.
I know.
Like that sequel shit, bro. Like, I'm sorry. And again, I'm not, if you liked it, that's fantastic. I say that every time because the Star Wars fandom is such a divisive, toxic fucking fandom. If you say anything bad about the sequels, it's you're canceled, you're this, you're that, blah, 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 but whatever. If you liked it, that's fantastic. I'm happy that you had a good time. I did not. I did not have a good time. I have not been having a good time with Star Wars. There are moments where I'm like, oh, that was fun. Like the first episode of Bad Batch. That was hell. I just rewatched that like last week because the first episode of Bad Batch is great. Mm-hmm. Boba Fett, I was just talking to Henry about this shit. Boba Fett had no consequence. You set up all this shit that did nothing. Like, the Hutt Twins is the one I go to often. The Hutt Twins basically strolled up in to Tatooine on their barge, threatened the shit out of Boba Fett, said, you're sitting on our uncle's throne, calling it your own, calling Tatooine yours. Basically, not in these words, but basically said, if you don't get the fuck up out of Tatooine when we show back up here, we're going to rain fire on your ass. Mm-hmm. Showed up and gave him a gift, and we never saw him again in the series. Right. And I'm like, what the fuck? What are the consequences of this stuff? Like, what's going on?
But if I'm being told, and this is just me, being a Star Wars head and liking what I like about it, when they first announced we're doing Boba Fett, do you know what I thought that show was going to be about? Fucking Boba Fett being
That's how they set it up, though.
Being a fucking merc, right? And I'll go back to, I wasn't here, but I actually heard you say this in one of our videos. Cad Bane's fucking cooler because that's the shit he did in all of Clone Wars.
He is cooler.
Because what he did in Clone Wars, at least in the beginning before he got relevant to the main plot, like before he really got pushing the main plot, that's what I thought Boba Fett was going to be. We're going to have an episode or two where him doing missions, him trying to... Because even whenever we said, he's trying to establish a syndicate, he needs fucking money. He needs to prove himself. He got embarrassed by fucking Luke. Everyone thought he died. Like, this is actually going to be pretty dope. And then we literally got him just hanging out with the mask off. And I was like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, but the way they set it up at the end of Mando Season 2, when him and Finnick walk in, shoot Bib Fortuna, he sits on the throne, leans back, Finnick leans up against the throne, and then you see Boba Fett will return. I was hyped. I was like, oh, this is going to be dope.
Well, that's how he was entered. That's how he came in Mando. He came in guns fucking blasted.
Dope in Mando. He beat stormtroopers with a gaffy stick. Yeah. He didn't have a gun. He beat them with a gaffy stick, okay? So it's like, yeah, bro. So that's why all my eggs are in a basket for Ahsoka.
And when you've got a bounty hunter, it's a tried and true method. I always think of whenever they first dropped they were going to do like the Old Republic Online. Remember all the badass Old Republic cinematics before all their expansions?
It's brilliant.
It's the one where the ship crashes in and the Jedi
into the Jedi Temple, yeah.
But what does the badass fucking mercenary do? She does the thing where she up to the top of the building and has the little tee, like, dope. Cad Bane shows up in his bow. That's so fucking cool. Because you can't be cooler than a Jedi and a Sith, so you make a badass mercenary assassin, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know.
No, they haven't. Star
He's
Wars.
cooler in every other medium. Books, he's dope. Boba Fett is terrifying in books.
Yeah.
He shows up and people are like, "Fuck, it's Boba Fett."
Like, you know, like when in the comics when he fights, when he was hired by Vader to find out who Luke actually was and things like that, and you know he fights Obi-Wan, he fights Chrysanthemum. I mean, there's so many different stories with Boba Fett that go on within the Star Wars legends, rather, when it comes to the comics and books and things like that. He's awesome, but you know the things that we got in Book of Boba Fett just weren't. I just wasn't feeling it.
Johnny Steven said, to be fair, that show has 2 of the best episodes of Star Wars television, but yeah, they fumbled the bag. What show?
Yeah, he's talking about Boba Fett. It does. It does. We're talking about, I know exactly what he's talking about. He's talking about the Mando-centered episode where Mando came in with the black darksaber and was kicking ass, and the Luke episode. Those are the two of the best episodes that I would say. Actually, you know what? I don't know if I'd call the Luke episode one of the best episodes. I'd say that seeing Luke done by Shamook, the DH deepfake, that was that was dope.
See, I'd even argue there
dope.
what that is to me is because he shows up in Mando, right? And it's dope. And they were, I mean, it was literally like, oh my god, let's make a series for him because everybody loved it, but you had no reason to tell that series. And then how do we save this series? Bring back the people motherfuckers care about, you know? I wouldn't give that to Mando. I would give that to a cameo was better than the whole fucking series. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I liked that episode. That was
I
the
honestly
only
blacked that
episode
out of my brain because I hated that series so fucking much that.
That's the only episode I really cared for. Then we moved back to Boba, and I was like, oh well, we're back.
Yeah, I'm just not a person that a cameo can save a series for me. I'm not.
It depends for me. Luke didn't save the series, but when Luke showed up, that was, I don't care who you are. If you're a Star Wars fan, that was Luke. That was Mark Hamill de-aged to Luke after Episode 6, and it looked brilliant. He sounded brilliant.
Right. He moved brilliantly.
But I'm just saying, for how many, for that high, right? That could have happened in any series, not being Boba, right? Where it happened is inconsequential to how you would have felt, to a point, right? Seeing it visually, if those are the things that mattered, right? But also Boba Fett being surrounded and hit repeatedly in a street and not using his jetpack to fucking get away, or the Power Ranger showing up, like.
Yeah, no, it was all.
That fucking.
Yeah, it's all the way it is with Star Wars, and like I said, I
get off desert planets.
I have it's the Ahsoka series. The Ahsoka series. That is where everything will change. I've been talking about the Ahsoka series now for the past 2 weeks because of all the leaks and things that have been coming out. As I've said, as we get closer, things will come out. And the things going on in that show.
I'm just ready to see my girl Ahsoka back again.
That
She's
shit's
so fucking dope.
I'm going to cover the shit out of that show.
Are you kidding me? It took fucking...
That show is going to be great.
For someone to be like, nah, fuck y'all in the council, but also I'm not a Sith. Oh, dude,
Yeah, well, I wouldn't even say that. It didn't take that many. I mean, Qui-Gon was saying, fuck y'all.
Yeah, but he didn't leave.
Nah, he didn't leave, but the only reason... But Ahsoka was motivated to leave. Had something motivated Qui-Gon to leave?
Well, also, she was in a different time with a very destabilized council. I mean, she came in at the worst end of...
And they literally accused... I would have left, too, if I was Ahsoka. As much as I've done for the Republic, as much as I've done for the Council, I gave my life to the Council. I left my home village. I was taken from my home village at a very young age and dedicated nothing but my existence to the Council. And you accuse me of murder? Fuck you. Of course I'm gone. Yeah. Fuck you. I'm not staying.
Well, we both know we would both be Sith if there was...
Yeah, I would definitely not be a part of anybody's council, Jedi council at all.
You're not going to tell me what to do.
Yeah, no.
The Force says I'm free to do what I want.
But, question is always for you guys. Listen down below in the comments what you guys are thinking about some of these things, about Star Wars, about Damien Lindelof, which we kind of talked about a little bit. Damien Lindelof is going to be coming in, as helming the first Star Wars film that we're going to see on screen since 2019's Rise of Skywalker. And what are your thoughts on some of the rumors and leaks here coming for Bad Batch Season 2 with the mention of Grogu, and how that could all connect to Mount Tannis, how it connect to the sequel trilogy with the cloning, and how it can connect to the Ahsoka series being adapting elements of Heir to the Empire in it. So let us know these things down below and what you guys are thinking. What are the comments there?
Yeah, that's fun.
Okay. And, I mean, I can still hit Avatar if they want.
Oh yeah. Let's see. Johnny Stevens said, "I trust Lindelof after watching Watchmen, and I liked Lost. I think as long as Filoni is there as well, this is gonna go harder than the spinoff in the Book of Boba Fett. Yeah, or the spin, the spin in Book of Boba Fett. Yeah, yeah, I agree. I think that this is gonna do great as long as Filoni's in that somewhere in the room. I think it's gonna be great." D Stizzle said, 10 years with Disney, we should have gotten something Old Republic related already. High Republic doesn't count. No, High Republic doesn't count. We screamed Old Republic. They said, nah, we got you. How about the High Republic? The Not Again 90 said, multi-year waiting for films kills my buzz. Yeah, bro, that's how I feel too. It's just like, it's kind of how I feel about, so I was on the phone with my grandmother last night. We were FaceTiming, and my grandmother, man, bless her heart, I love my grandma. She was talking about, House of Dragon, because I'm trying to get my grandmother to move in with me. She lives in Jacksonville, Texas. My third bedroom used to be my work office when I worked in insurance from home. So I want her to move into, it's my trophy room now from all my basketball stuff, but I want her to move into that room. And we were talking, I was like, Grandma, if you move in, we can watch, House of Dragon season 2 on in my living room. I have a 100-inch screen. It's basically a theater. Like, I have the woofers and the loudspeakers and everything. Like, it feels like a movie theater when you're in there. So, and it's set up like a movie theater. But I told her, like, Grandma, you can come down. You live here with me. We can watch House of Dragon season 2. She's like, what do you mean watch House of Dragon season 2? I've been watching it. I said, what do you mean you've been watching it? And she's like, I've been watching House of Dragon season 2. I said, where? On what? And whose sources? Who gave you this? And she's like, I've been watching on HBO Max. I said, Grandmother, you've been watching reruns of not HBO Max. She's been watching HBO. I said, you've been watching reruns of House of Dragon. I was like, how did you not realize that these are episodes that you've already watched? But yeah, I feel the same way about waiting multiple years, because when I told her House of Dragon season 2 is not until 2024, she said, what? I was like, yeah, 2024. It's a while. So I feel you on that for sure. D Stizzle said, Game of Thrones showrunners are big nerds. I think they wanted to do Old Republic. They did want to do Old Republic, actually, but that was the creative differences that they were having with KK. That's why we never got anybody to come in and actually give us great Star Wars material, because every time that they thought or had a good idea or something that went outside of the Force being female, and I know that Kathleen Kennedy, that was for Nike, and that was a whole thing, but one of the issues I have with Lucasfilm is they did not say that. They let the division and they let all the shit go on between the fandom, with her coming out with a shirt that said the Force is female and things like that. It caused division. Like, if you would have just come out and said, guys, calm down, this is just for, but they never did that, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, they don't have their ear to the ground a lot of the time when it comes to the fandom, and the creative differences that Kathleen kept having, because it wasn't the droll, daft, not really understanding Star Wars, the IP, like she wanted, the direction, so she did end up cutting that direction with the Game of Thrones showrunner. So it does suck that we didn't get to see that. D Sizzle said, I remember Sidious saying those kids being used for Force-sensitive spies throughout the galaxy. Yes, he did say that. But at the same time, he did say that. At the same time, though, remember, they were trying to extract blood from them on Mustafar. That's what the medical droids were doing. But he did want spies. He wanted insurgents, basically like inquisitors. He wanted inquisitors. He wanted them to be inquisitors for him. So that is also true. D Sizzle said, besides Dave, who could replace KK that's trustworthy? I would honestly say I don't want Dave to replace KK, because Dave is not a suit. Dave is a creative. Dave is a Filoni. Just like I don't want our Filoni, a Feige. Just like I don't want Feige in a situation like Iger or something like that. I think Dave needs to stay in the writers' rooms. Dave needs to stay being in the creative seat. I think if you get somebody that's a suit, that understands this IP. That's not just a suit that's in it for making the money. Yes, the money's important, and obviously the money's important. But they need whoever the suit is needs to have an equal love for the franchise as they do for the profit of the franchise. Just because
whoever they are, you don't want to have that strife between your creatives. You don't want to have like you were having with Kathleen Kennedy, where you have an idea taken to her and she's like, no, 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 and you don't want to have that. So I would say I would want Dave to stay in that creative seat. I don't know who you would have replace him. No, that is a very good question. I've seen that question asked before also. I'm not sure. Gray said Dave Filoni came to work with his No Ma'am t-shirt on, trying to fix KK's mess. Yeah. Then D-Sizzle said huts are expensive. Yeah, probably needed that budget for the Rancor fight. That's very true too. Huts are expensive, as far as the budget goes, VFX effects and getting the Hut twins in here. But then that just bothers me because it's like if you know your expense before you start filming. You know how much you have to work with. If you didn't plan on fulfilling that, because I thought that scene was badass when the Hut showed up and they were, testing Boba, and Boba wanted to, go at him, but Finnick was like, nah, not yet, not here, be smart about it and all that type of shit. I was like, oh, this is gonna be good, because that was what, episode 2? I was like, this is gonna be good, but
I'm saying, you blow your whole budget on 2 characters lounging, right? Like, you got a whole show to make. You got to disperse that shit out, right? If you got to make that choice, they could have shown up as holograms, right?
They could have shown up as holograms.
Show up, hold the hologram, they pop up and start talking. And it wouldn't have been as cool of a scene, don't get me wrong, but you would have had more budget to make a better overall series.
But you also just had them show up, threaten him. I mean, and the threat was a threat like, basically, get the fuck up out our uncle's palace, or we're going to come in, we're going to rain fire. Right. And they brought him a Rancor, and we didn't see him the rest of the show. So I was just like, okay. I'll forget that one, because I was still in my mind thinking Kira was going to show up. Crimson Dawn was going to... No. And No.
Just didn't do it.
No.
Let's see. Near said the Book of Boba Fett, the TV show about an old man taking a bath. That's very true. He's in that back to tank more than anything. Let's see. Johnny Stevens said, we read that one. D Stizzle said, there's some cool stuff in both Book of Boba Fett and Obi-Wan, but they dropped the ball on both shows. Yeah, there's cool stuff. Like I like the scene in Obi-Wan where Vader shows up in that village and is literally trying to get Obi-Wan out, and he's dragging people. Yeah. When he snapped the kid's neck, I said, "Oh my god!" And I'm not like, "Oh my god," like, "Oh my god," like, because we see Vader do menacing shit like that in the comics. There's the comic where he shows up and he's surrounded by rebels. I'm talking like an army. It's just him in the desert, surrounded by an army of rebels, and the rebel commander says, "We've got you surrounded. We're blah blah blah," and Vader says, "All I see around me is a bunch of dead men." And he takes them all. We've seen Vader be in
Vader. Rebels, they didn't. The intent was there when he's having you kill yourself with your own fucking lightsaber.
Oh, when he's pushing Ezra's lightsabers up against his neck. Yeah. Oh yeah, bro.
Now, granted, they want to do more with the story, and I don't think they would show the full violence of that happening. But like the intent's there.
Yeah, the intent is there, and like I love every time Vader shows up. You hear Kanan, you see their breath come because the cold. Like you feel it, and it's like I love that, bro. It's so.
It's just hearing Vader's breathing. They get goosebumps. They're sweating because it's like.
Because Vader at that point in the galaxy is a myth. Mm-hmm. He's not something that a lot of people don't know who Vader is. Right. Like when Vader first showed up in Rebels in this TV show, not even some of the Imperials know who Vader is. He's a myth.
Jedi,
yeah.
But for Jedi, Vader is. If they know, they know. And if they don't, he is the legend of... He's the fallen chosen one.
Yeah.
He's killed all of these people.
He's 7 foot. Yeah. And I'm talking not originally, like Anakin was already tall. But
too. You know what I'm saying? You gotta flex. So he flexes and he does. That's kind of like the best example I could probably give of something like that was when Maul and his brother fought against Sidious.
Sidious beat the shit out of them.
Because Sidious walked over, and from the get-go, they were laser-focused. This isn't a...
Sidious was toying with them,
I know,
bro.
But to them, this wasn't a relaxed shoulders conversation, are we going to fight? This was, he is going to kill me. Like, I have to... You know what I mean? And that's how Vader is. When he shows up, it's like, everybody run. 4 Jedi Masters are going to try to hold this motherfucker off.
Yeah, no, that particular scene with Maul and Savage when Sidious shows up.
Sidious is playing with them the entire time. Like, Sidious, there's a moment where he dodges Maul saber, dodge from the back, dodges Savage's, and literally sighs, goes, I'm just like...
Well, wasn't it too that Shavaz didn't fully understand how he was still kind of...
he didn't
and
really
Maul
know.
was like, no, you don't.
Yeah, Maul, that's why Maul immediately when Sidious walked in went to his knees. He was like, my master, even though he was lying, like, I built all this in hopes of returning to you. I every time I watch that scene, I always think to myself, is Maul lying, or is he just so afraid of Sidious where he was like, it's kind of like one of those things like, it's one of those things like, when you've been conditioned a certain type of way, and you get, even though you're away from that person, when you're back in front of that person, you fall back into old ways.
I think it is almost like I've seen it done in like there's an anime that's new season's out right now that they have it's called spiritual pressure, right? But essentially they're flexing their energy around you, right? There's literally a guy in the show who's a very old, powerful man that him simply, because his eyes are always closed, him simply opening his eyes causes weaker people to pass out. They cannot be in front of him. And I think that's, it's kind of like that. Sidious walks in the room, Maul, it's like that moment where you're going, deer in the headlights, you're going to die. His presence is so strong, you hit your knees and, it's yours. You have it.
Yeah.
Fucking, here you go. My brother's going to die. I'm going to die. It's over. Like, this was fun until you actually showed up in front of me and I remembered your presence.
Right.
Like,
and then, to toy with him at the end, and Maul's like, please have mercy. And he says, there is no mercy. And he starts shocking him. And he goes, don't worry, I'm not going to kill you. I have other uses for you.
Well, I think it's funny, too, because people always think that Sidious is this frail... Because oftentimes he intentionally portrays himself as this frail, I don't move quick. I mean, even when Grievous kidnapped him, it was, I don't know what's going on. Right. And then, like you said, he goes from that to... this is boring. I'm the greatest fucking Jedi or the greatest lightsaber duelist in this fucking world.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. And he's so so in tuned with the Force too. Like
that was gonna be my bigger thing. Yeah.
He is so in tuned with the Force.
Fuck. Ren's master.
Ren's master.
Kylo Ren's died stupid.
Luke?
Snoke.
Oh, Snoke. Oh, Snoke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If Snoke was powerful enough to connect people across planets, Sidious, are you kidding me? That's what I'm saying. Imagine.
But that was Sidious.
But I'm saying, imagine having so much Force control, you can interact with people on other planets, and I'm in the same fucking room you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's done.
Yeah, no, Palp is without question, in my opinion, the greatest Sith in Star Wars. That's just my opinion. There are some great Sith in Star Wars. There are. But Palpatine did what none of them could do.
Well, for anyone that doesn't know, I mean, Palp's master was...
Plagueis.
Plagueis was hyped up in his stories of he's immortal. I mean, he's cheating death. He's so knowledgeable in the Force. He's this... incredible master. They hype him up so much to literally follow up with, and then Palpatine.
Yeah, and
he wasn't shit.
The mistake Plagueis made was teaching Palpatine everything he
But it's
knew.
just like, imagine they're like, this is a warrior that can cut down armies by himself and destroy mountains with a punch, and then his apprentice flicked him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's some crazy stuff with Sidious and them. But we've got, let me see. D Stizzle said, only thing about Mando I really don't like is that annoying human mechanic. Yeah, I know which one you're talking about there. So Yuri G said, LOL at Power Rangers comment. Yeah, the little cyberpunk Power Ranger gang, and on their Vespas. Again, there were so many things made in Book of Boba Fett that just were unnecessary. That was another one that was completely unnecessary.
I'll twirl my gun around.
Yeah, waste of time. Johnny Stevens said, Ahsoka Mando Season 3 got me hyped. Also, I say Mandalorians are cooler than Sith and Jedi. To rebut that earlier comment, after seeing them in live action, I'd rather be a Mando.
I want to see Mandalorians in their mech armor suits. Now, I will also say this. I am that annoying motherfucker that anytime Star Wars is talked about, at one point I will always have to be like, but the Old Republic.
Yeah, the Old Republic.
Just because when I was a kid, I liked Star Wars. My dad took me, he showed me the old movies. He was taking me to see the prequels as they came out. But then I played the Old Republic video games, and anytime anyone would talk Star Wars, I'd be like, but Revan. Like, but this dope shit. And so seeing when the Mandalorians were just conquering fucking the Outer Rim to pieces in their giant fucking mech suits, that's the Mandalorians I want to see. I want to get back to the real Mandalorian. Let's build our shit back up and be an unstoppable army.
Unless I've not read anything, I would say I've read a lot. But unless I've not read anything in Legends, I don't believe the Mandalore ever goes back to glory. I think Mandalore stays the...
I don't think anyone would let them. Because they were the terror... The Jedi had to come out of isolation.
I mean, you got the Galactic Civil War. No, they weren't a part of that one. Yeah.
We got Ant-Man 1991 that said, if I wrote Star Wars Episodes 7 through 9, I would have it where it focuses on Finn becoming the next Jedi and Rey descending to the dark side since she's Palpatine's granddaughter.
And that when I talk what ifs with sequels, it's kind of like the Wakanda Forever conversations for me. I don't care. Oh man. As you guys know, I love Star Wars so much more than Marvel and DC, and my disdain for 7, 8, and 9 is so real.
Yeah. So in 9, I did not like any of the 3. I vehemently you cannot tell me. I've even seen people say, well, 7 was okay. No, it was the last...
It's a New Hope.
It was 4 and
redone.
1 redone. It's not good. At least 1 had new ideas to go on top of it. But, see, I actually, in this, I yelled in the theaters at the end of the movie. Because when Rey does her, my last name is Skywalker... I literally stood up in the theater, because right afterwards, I said, your name is fucking Palpatine.
Yeah.
And I walked out of the theater. Why? Because, no, story arcing is about... I could see it where he's trying to bring her to the dark side, a connection with his granddaughter, but she proves the point of your name is not your destiny, right? The sins of the father, not sins of the son kind of thing, right?
Right.
I'd have liked them to play on that more. I'd have liked to see Finn become a Jedi. But... that was my thing, is I wanted to see her be like, yes, I'm a Palpatine, but I'm not him.
Right. Yeah, no, if I agree with what Chill just said there. If I created Knights of the Old Republic, or Knights of the Republic, if I created episodes 7, 8, and 9, I wouldn't have killed Snoke. You killed the most interesting character, a part of what you had. You killed the most interesting character part of what you had. And that was the only thing that... Snoke and Kylo were the only two things I was interested in. Like, when Snoke fucking had the argument with Kylo in the throne room, I was like, bro, I'm hooked. I was hooked on Snoke from 7.
And think about young people that, don't know Sidious, right? I'm talking young people, this is their trilogy. This is getting them into Star Wars. They're like, who's the fuck is Snoke? Like, what in the world? And then he dies that easy, and then they bring Sidious in, who, granted, we're like, oh, fuck, it's Sidious, right? But they're like, why? Y'all didn't build up for this the right way.
Right.
Right? You didn't we could figure it out, but you didn't build on it enough. And if this was just isolated trilogy of movies, imagine you haven't seen anything Star Wars. And you watch 7, then 8, then 9. Who the fuck is that guy? Y'all didn't build for him at all. And then they did the weird thing where he's got the fucking army of ships that looks like the ending of fucking Knights 1. Because that was the whole plot of Knights 1, is the machine the arc that continues to make more ships for you.
Right.
That's what it looked like to me. It was just some shit.
Yeah, no, they don't care about it. I mean, they didn't care about it.
Mm-hmm.
We've got... D-Sizzle that said, KK, y'all go old, we go high. He said, these big live action shows take forever to make. I would have been cool with just the KOTOR remake, but they can't even get that right. Yeah, they canceled that too. Chill said, Dave is already in a position you hope it just takes 2 years for his work to be produced. We got D Sizzle said, Dave is still overseeing the animation department. If the Ahsoka blows up, though, anything's possible. That's true too. He's talking about the scene between Asajj, Maul, and Palps. Then D Sizzle said, Vader dragging Obi-Wan through the fire was good, but the scene wasn't finished strong. No, it wasn't. I like that scene too. D Sizzle said Maul was definitely afraid of Sidious when he said, "Have mercy, please," like he's having flashbacks of when he tortured him as a kid. Yeah, because in the comics you see that Maul, Sidious used to Maul fucked up, executed or some type of torture. He that's just what that was the training. Gray said Yoda does the same thing with his limp walk. Yeah,
I've always felt like Sidious's was more intentionally maniacal.
Yeah.
Underestimate me. Where Yoda, I feel like before he fights, it's more like, let me crack my bones, let me fill up with some force juice. You know what I mean? Like, that's the difference there to me. It's a old master versus a deceitful master.
Right. D Sizzle said Mandalorians were always that third party faction during the Jedi/Sith Wars. Yes. Chillmonger said, bruh, if I wrote 7, 8, and 9, I wouldn't have killed the main villain with the movie remaining. Right. Like, when that happened, I said, okay. D Stizzle said Mandalore the Great should be explored in season 3. D Stizzle also said if I wrote the trilogy, it would be the exact opposite of what it was. Then Johnny Stevens said they should have committed to Kylo being the villain, not reintroduce Sheevy, Baby, Palps, and not reduce Finn to a joke. But like I said, with Jon Stewart, Green Lantern, Hollywood doesn't want a strong black lead. Zangbeto said we need a Galactic War trilogy, and then D Stizzle said George mentioned with each trilogy he wanted new ships, new technology, new ideas. Disney basically made a retro trilogy. Yeah, that's why I don't think George should have sold.
Right,
but
and I think that's how to me it's. Have you ever heard of the son of Tolkien, Lord of the Rings, talk about why he hates the movies? Because his dad made a world. He made a livable, breathable universe where, millions of stories could be told inside of it. He has literally the origins from when the universe began and how the gods exist to how we were, everything, right? He built this livable, breathable world.
Right.
And I feel like with Star Wars, that's a thing to me where George Lucas was like, new things, new ideas, look at my universe, help me build it, we can be a part of this together, show new shit. And all they want to do is stick to this one thing. And I feel like that's where the magic kind of... George wanted it's and that's what I'm saying. It's a universe, man.
Right.
Yeah, I wanted to show this here because that's our topics and that's the things we have for you. But I will show this since we were talking KOTOR. When I talk Star Wars, when I'm thinking, this is what I mean. Me and Henry used to watch this all of the time. But when we talk Star Wars, this is what I want to see out of Star Wars, just in general. It might skip around to where it won't let me show this because, well, this shit's just shitty. So.
Oh. This is like all the games cutscenes?
Oh, I wasn't showing the whole 20 minutes, but yeah, I was going to show a particular part, but it might not let me. Looks like it's going to keep skipping and fucking up, and it is. So. But.
Hey, if you want, I can, like I said, I can give my thoughts on that movie.
Yeah, 1 second. Yeah, so I did, like I said, I did want to show that, but it won't let me. Let me see if it'll let me do this really quick.
Also, it was way back before the internet too, like the looking up everything and being spoiled on everything. When I found out I was Revan
Oh yeah.
as a child, I didn't know what to think, man. Especially because I was like, I can kind of play a bad guy. Then I'm like, oh no, I really was the bad guy.
This is one of my favorites. I might have shown this to you guys before. I can't really remember, but it is definitely one of my all-time favorite Star Wars moments. Sam Witwer plays Palpatine's voice in Rebels, but they had McDermott come in and do some things, and so they had him do this scene, and they had Witwer. Well, Witwer originally did the scene in the original in Rebels, so Sam did his, and then Palp did his. And one thing that I love about Palp is there's stages of Palp. There's Palp in the prequel trilogy. There's Palp in the original trilogy, and then of course, you know that. Anyway, I only count those two. And the Palp in the in prequel trilogy is more open, of tolerant of listening to Vader whine and cry about Padme or Obi-Wan. Palp in as he's older, Empire Palp doesn't give a shit. Honestly, he tells Vader sometimes in the comics, like, stop worrying about that shit. Like, you know, it's just like, so it's like this here, you can hear the difference. And Sam sounds more like the prequel Palp, where McDermott sounds like the I'm agitated, stop bringing this shit up Palp. So listen to this. I love this.
Lord Vader, have you dealt with the rebels in the Lothal system?
Yes, Master. They are broken.
And yet I sense in you something more to your victory.
I believe the apprentice of Anakin Skywalker lives and is in league with these rebels.
Are you certain?
It was her.
This is an opportunity we cannot let pass. Skywalker's apprentice could lead us to other lost Jedi.
Such as Kenobi.
Perhaps, if he lives. Be patient, my old friend. For now, dispatch another Inquisitor to hunt them down.
As you wish, my master.
Now here comes Ian McDermott.
Lord Vader, have you dealt with the rebels in the Lothal system?
Yes, Master. They are broken.
And yet I sense in you something more to your victory.
I believe the apprentice of Anakin Skywalker lives and is in league with these rebels.
Are you certain?
It was her.
This is an opportunity we cannot let pass. Skywalker's apprentice could lead us to other lost Jedi.
Such as Kenobi.
Perhaps, if he lives. Be patient, my old friend. For now, dispatch another Inquisitor to hunt them down.
As you wish, my master.
Yeah, bro. I really love that comparison that's made there. It is like night and day. I love the comparison made there. But yeah, no. I wish I could have shown that other thing, but I can't because piece of shit over here. So just can't. So.
But yeah, no, that's really what we've got for today. I've got, obviously we'll talk about some other things tomorrow, but that's really what we've got here for the day. No other really topics to go on. We are going to do a most anticipated thing for 2023, but that'll be this week. So we'll talk about that and some other things that come out for tomorrow, and be back with you guys tomorrow. But is there anything we missed there in the chat?
Right.
I think it's started with Zang Beto there.
Let's see. We need a Galactic War trilogy.
I would love to see a Galactic War.
And then Diesel said Bob Iger convinced GL to sell. I wonder how often George just hates what's happened to his franchise.
Yeah.
I I would, if it was me, dude, I would be shitting on them disrespectfully every time anyone would hear me out. Every tweet they made, I would be retweeting with, ha! I mean, I would be a petty bitch about it, dude.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Oh, dude, I would be so fucking mad. You're letting fucking Marvel and blue people outdo me. It'll be back. Let's see here. Let's say Grace, this seems to be a mandate that nobody wants a strong black male protagonist in their franchise. And they fucked Finn, that's for sure.
Indeed.
Dee says that Sam is good, but I can tell the difference between, I can tell the difference between him and Ian.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like night and day.
And you got Not Again 90 and Gray talking to each other there.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, guys. So like I said, that's what we've got for in way of videos and things for you guys today, or videos. I'm sorry, topics with you guys today. But we will be back tomorrow to talk more topics. And when we talk about those, like I said, I'm not really sure. I know we're gonna dive into some of that. My Time to Shine Hello things and some of the things she was talking about there. But like I said, we'll be back there tomorrow with you guys and have new topics and conversations to have. So as always, we appreciate every single one of you hanging out with us tonight and being here. Again, Discord link is down below in the bio. If you are interested in joining Discord, you can do so. Also, the trivia let me go ahead and talk about this for New Year's. Now, I will be here for sure. As far as what my the co-host, as far as everybody else, I'm not really sure, but I will be here December 31st, bringing in the new year with you guys on the phone. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not doing that shit. I'm going to be right here at this house. So I will be here to go live with you guys then. And I will have the trivia, the new games and things then, so we can probably get into some of that night too, and hang out and have some games and things there. So for New Year's, mark your calendars. If you don't have anything going on and you are going to be staying in, I will be here, and maybe some of the other co-hosts too will be here with me to bring in New Year's with you guys.
And just to clarify, Chillmonger, I was just talking about other series that are passing up Star Wars right now when they should.
Oh yeah, and before we close, Trey did get to see Avatar. If you want to go in on thoughts on what you thought with Avatar.
I mean, for all the negativity that was going, because I went into this movie with I wouldn't say a negative mindset, but a not hyped, not excited. You know, people were mixed reviews back and forth on it. It fucking blew me away. Okay. I mean, I'm not sitting here saying, oh my god, it was the best movie or anything like that, but I'm saying I will go see 3 in theaters. I fully intend to. I expected I was in the womb when the first one came out, right? So I was worried the length of this movie would be, let's explain all the stuff again to you, how everything works, the universe, and dude, it literally it jumps in and he's just like, I have a family, I have kids, the sky people are back, right? Mm-hmm. But within 10 minutes, dude, you just see him run in, jump, hook up to the fucking the flying creatures. There was so much violence in this movie. I don't know how it passed PG-13. There's dudes, humans, not blue people violence, humans getting their fucking arms cut off, flying through the air, people getting dome clapped. Like straight shot in the head, left and right. It was extremely violent when it needed to be. Because they are at war.
Right.
Honestly, I kind of wished it was a series because I wanted to see more. I love that the Na'vi people are so diverse. Their cultures are different. I mean, even meeting they're the reef people. Mm-hmm. They're not. They evolve differently. They have stronger tails, fin-like tails, and they make the joke that this is a tail to the tree people, right? Mm-hmm. They have they don't have fins or anything, but their arms are wider. Mm. So for their swimming faster, shit like that, you learn all that shit. The storyline, they didn't hold your hand. They went right into it. And surprisingly, his universe was built well enough. I didn't need to be reminded of shit. I was going to watch Avatar 1 again. I didn't. I just went into it, know what I know. Grand Regent Thrag, I would say, I was making a joke, just saying the first one came out forever. But yeah, I didn't need to catch up. And I'm also mad at James Cameron because that movie, the ending I was hot tears.
Yeah.
Wet, hot tears. I mean, it was, like I said, it brings you right back in. He built a world you can jump back into. You don't forget shit. It's smooth, and it was great.
Yeah.
It was the whole experience. It didn't feel like a long movie. That's another thing. You know, really long movies have lulls where you're like, fuck, this whole 30 minutes I could have gone without.
Right.
Like, no, I have an app on my phone called Run P for long movies. It tells you when in the movie, no pushing plot or whatever is going to happen, so you can go get drinks or go to the bathroom. There's like fucking 2 moments in that movie. Because it's just go, go, go narrative building. If you don't like animals dying cruelly, you ain't gonna like it.
Right.
But I can't say spoilers right now, can I? Can I?
Looks like we do have some people that haven't seen it. Gray hasn't seen it.
Alright, all I'll say is, and this is spoiler free, as a dad, fuck you, James Cameron, for that whole last 30 minutes of that movie. That shit, I was fucking emotional, dude.
Right.
And there was a part where I stopped crying and was like, I ain't no bitch. I'm okay. And then he said one line, and it was like, you know what I mean? Like, white knuckle in my chair, trying on. My son was like, Dad. And, again, if we're not doing spoilers here, there's one moment that I'm like, that doesn't make sense. It's pretty plot heavy, like, that didn't fucking work. But other than that, I got fully invested right back in the shit. And will go see 3 in theaters. I thought it was fucking great.
Yeah, looks like I knew Official EMG saw it. He was talking about it last week. Man of Culture has seen it too. I don't know if Grand Region Thrag has seen it. Yeah, I as you know, I have not seen it. I was gonna go see it Friday night, the Friday night that it had come out to the world. But then it was sold out, so I didn't go see it. Then Kel and I were gonna go see it Sunday, but then just for whatever reason never went and saw it. Yeah, so I've still yet to see Avatar. People at work have seen it. I've seen some things coming out about it, you know. I saw nothing but positive things at the beginning, but then there have been things, you know, obviously with it being it's going into its 3rd weekend, and there are things that I have seen negatively about it as far as like I've seen people saying, obviously this may differ from what you just said, but I've seen people saying like it only sets up the 3rd film. I guess there's no consequence in this film really that you deal with, but it sets up the 3rd film. I've heard, and your mileage may vary on this too, because it just really depends, I guess, who you are. But I've heard it's too long, but I feel like that's subjective. Like, you know, some people might really like that shit.
Right. Well, shit. That's why I said I almost wish it was a series, because I would have liked to explore more of the water people. Like,
Right.
I'm just big on that. If you've built a really cool world that is interactive and like there's as much depth as I want to. If I'm looking at shit and noticing little things you put in, James Cameron cares about this fucking world. And here's really the last thing to me that stood out from 1 that made, in my opinion, this movie better than 1 is, we've said in here before, 1 had a very generic plot. Mm-hmm. It's not a bad thing sometimes, right? That's your movie doesn't have to break barriers with its plot. But it was Fern Gully, Dances with Wolves. It was a done again plot, and I was worried going into this of, well, then what fucking plot are you gonna do here? Oh, it was there. It was there, and I have now become a person. I hate movies when people have a lot of kids, because these bastards come at me. I'm telling you, I used to be just a not give a fuck person, but with me, I don't know. I'm getting closer to 30, dude. I got 2 kids now. Anytime some dad shit goes on, or an old person cries in any movie or series, I'm over there like, man, it's fucking hard out here. You don't understand. But yeah, right. I wasn't the best movie of all time or anything, but definitely a beautiful cinematic experience, and definitely made it to where I will go see 3 in theaters.
Right. Right. Well, like I said, that's the Avatar take there from at least one of us that have seen it. Um,
And it's by the time I see it, I don't even know. Like I might mention something if I even, I don't know, because by the time I see it, I don't even know if it'll be. It'll probably be like I'll probably say something about it like in the little we do at the beginning. How was your day? No, I saw Avatar, and I'll give my thoughts on it there because we're not all gonna see it at the. There's not one that we coordinated well. You already had your tickets, but as far as like the rest of us, that was not coordinated well. I think I tried to get tickets for all of us.
Oh, I was shook too.
Wednesday night, and
we literally went Christmas night, right? I mean, the night of Christmas. It's been out for this is the second weekend. I didn't expect much, and I walked into that theater. First, just pulled in the parking lot. I'm like, "There's a lot of motherfucking people here." Get in the concessions. There's a lot of motherfucking people here. Mm-hmm. It sat in my seat. There were no free seats.
Like No Way Home.
And yeah, dude. I mean, that whole audience had reactions of. I will admit, though, it wasn't a Marvel level.
No, you won't get that.
When the movie ended, my son's so used to seeing superhero movies that he dead silence as the movie ends, and my son just goes and starts fucking clapping, and like no one joined in.
Yeah, no, it's
definitely not the same. It's not. I don't think you do get that same when Marvel films pop. When they pop, when you get your Endgames, your Infinity Wars, your No Way Homes, when those shits pop, that's a feeling that is a Marvel feeling. I don't think that can be a duplicated feeling.
Right.
But yeah, those are the things that we got. Those are things from there. Like I said, you got your Avatar take from Trey. You got the things that we talked about here. And like I said, we will be back here tomorrow to discuss more with you guys. But in the meantime, I hope that you guys all enjoy your evening. Get back, for those of you that had today off, get back to work tomorrow. Start your week positively, and I hope that you all have a blessed week as well. Like I said, we'll be back tomorrow to discuss more things with you guys. But in the meantime, like, subscribe, share with your friends, and we'll see you guys. From everybody here in the room, we will see you guys in the next video. Peace out, everybody. Enjoy your nights.